where we left off last week, after having battled a group of harpies who apparently spoke to each other with somewhat of a hive mind, and they took out the Temple of Heliod in Neolanton, and also an oracle, which our group has been drafted, kind of volunteered a little bit, to escort back to Meletus as they are gravely wounded and they want to get them back and also report on what is happening. So they've been provided with a large covered wagon, which the oracle is laid out in the back, drawn by 2 horses. There's also some provisions on there, enough for their travel, a 3-day journey. And they were provided a map for a route to take that would be kind of the back roads so that they wouldn't be on any main thoroughfares, because they're quite worried for the safety of the oracle, as they don't know why the gods have decided to destroy the temple and injure their oracle at the same time. As you move out, you are joined by 2 hoplites who are assigned to take you about an hour's way out from the town just to get you started on your journey, and then they will drop off and you will be on your own. You have been provided a map with a route. The question is, are you going to follow that map, or what route do you intend to take? The map that is given to you follows back roads, which, while they're going to be very well secluded, they're also going to be a little bit rougher of a ride. It's going to take you east towards Phala, and then north past Citrium and Oxus, but all off the main road. So there's going to be lots of mountainy travel that you will be taking. There are paths. The wagons will be able to make it, but there may be some precarious places along the way. Or you could take the main road.
We were instructed to take the back roads. At least 2 of us know those back roads fairly well. I think we should follow our instruction. This was meant to be done secretly, so it is my belief that that is what we should do, even with the risk of danger, but we are...
Travel's not for comfort, or else
No, indeed.
Agrios wouldn't have agreed to join us.
Perhaps not.
We take the back roads.
Okay. Last I knew, Tikaros was riding an Agrios. Are the rest of you on foot?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be.
Okay.
I'm kind of wanting to scout ahead a little bit.
Okay. The hoplites are on foot as well. They tend to take up the rear, and they seem to be looking backwards more than forwards. So, Adrastos, you take up the front, and how far ahead of the wagon are you going to go?
Probably right at the border of sight. Like, far enough ahead that I can see what's coming before it sees us, but close enough that everyone else can see me.
Okay. It is becoming night, so the sun has gone down. There is not much moon to speak of at this point, so it is fairly dark outside. You, of course, have the starlight to guide you, and any dark vision that any of you have will obviously be active as well. You make your way along the trail, and for about an hour, Adrastos, the path is fairly clear. The road that you're on, while not the main path, actually isn't very far from it at this point. It hasn't done its veer off yet. So it's been fairly smooth, a little rocky places, but you haven't really seen any traffic either. With all the destruction that had happened within the city, there probably aren't too many people, making the road trip at this point, which is a good thing for you. So after about an hour, one of the hoplites makes his way forward to Ptolemaeus. Excuse me, Captain.
I'm no captain. I'm just a volunteer.
That is your rank for now while you're on this mission. That is what we were told.
Sure. What is it?
We're going to break off here. We're going to set up and allow you another hour's travel, and we're going to keep an eye to make sure that no one follows. some last instructions I were given. Um, the oracle, as you know, is in the wagon. The oracle has been given some herbal remedies and also is under a magical sleep. So best not to disturb them. They're in great pain and they want them to rest through this as much as possible. There is food present. Stay off the main roads. And above all, he places his hand out to you. Good journey.
I'm do the little forearm shake. Thank you for the escort until now, and thank you for keeping watch.
Of course. If we do encounter anything, one of us will stay behind to fight and the other will come to find you. So if you're approached by a runner quickly, be prepared.
I nod, and I kind of walk around and basically give the information to Adrastos as well. I don't know if anybody else is kind of around the area, like in the front, or where everybody is situated.
I'll let everybody say, where are you around the wagon?
That would be front adjacent.
Or it's probably towards the back.
Ariana would be too.
If Agrios is still allowing Tikaros to ride on his ride, she would be there. Otherwise, she would be elsewhere.
So if that's the case, then I'll just kind of make a little bit of a round basic premise, tell everybody just the oracle's in a magic sleep. Let's not bother the Sphinx for now, and we're on our own from here all the way to our destination.
It won't know that we're taking it somewhere. It's just going to wake up and be displaced.
I'm sure if they're in safe hands, it's not going to be that big of a problem.
All right.
We'll see.
Hopefully, being an oracle, it should know where it is.
Oh, good point. Didn't know that.
But
Is that how that works?
Well, Agrios, you're an oracle, aren't you?
After a sword, yes.
Oh. So, are you always aware of if you were to be knocked out, brought somewhere, would?
Absolutely not.
Ah.
I get lost all the time.
Well, you just position yourself based on the stars. It's not that hard. You don't have the constellation map memorized? You guys haven't done that yet?
No.
Oh. All right.
I've actually been meaning to talk to you about the stars a little bit more, specifically, the hair and everything. I've
Sure.
never actually met many other people more with intimate knowledge of the stars other than, oh, that's neat, and that's about it. So, I mean, I woke up with this, but it's not necessarily something that I know about. So, does it actually match anything?
Well, I typically when something like that happens to a person, I would assume that it's divine adjacent. My god is not necessarily of the stars, but I have studied the stars quite a bit in my sailing days, and I do have my where is it? And she'll kind of fumble around and she'll pull out this map that she unfurls that she's like, it's almost like the equivalent of a child pulling out their stuffed animal that they've had forever, and it's like all tattered and gross and it's got like stains and whatever, and she's got this star map, and she'll kind of compare it to your hair and see if it is accurate.
Okay.
Are you wanting DM feedback on this, Ptolemaeus?
Do you want me to just make a split decision right here?
If you would like to for your character, I'm more than happy to have you to do it. If you would like me to make the decision, I will do so as well.
I would think that the hair kind of almost is a mirror of of what the skies are, but they move in a way that doesn't seem. It's almost as if the speed of it moving has nothing to do with what the sky actually is. It's more to do with Ptolemaeus himself.
Um. Well, your constellations are all about in the right place. They I don't know, it's interesting. It all moves rather quickly, almost as if time is advancing faster. But it seems fair. I imagine yourself looking into a lake or a pond, and suddenly 5 years have passed. That's about what your star map looks like.
I do notice sometimes when I'm looking in the reflection of myself, water and whatnot, that it does slow down at other times. Do you think it has anything to do with specifically just me or the stars, or might
Oh,
just
well, I I've been quite interested in your hair this entire time. I got to be honest. I don't mean to be weird about it, but I have been kind of monitoring it and looking at it, and I do feel like I recall it changing its glow almost a time or two. I mean, especially when we've dealt with some pretty intense situations as of late, and I feel like I remember it dimming or brightening at some point. So perhaps it's almost a mood indicator in a way.
Ariana's gonna be slowly sneaking up behind Ptolemaeus, and when Vara says that, we'll go ah! and to Ptolemaeus and scare him.
I
and
want to
watch
see
his
if I
hair.
get scared.
I'll roll sneak if you want.
Yeah, sure. Roll the for that. Let me see if it even passes the perception.
The 15.
15 barely passes. I'll just kind of I'm like really deep in this conversation, kind of thinking about it, and then suddenly just I'm sorry. What happened, Ariana? Did we? Is there danger?
Is his hair moving? Does it go faster?
Actually, what you see is for a moment, it's like there was the constellation of Erebus was over here, and it shifted back.
It moved. Vara, it moved. This one moved from
Oh,
here to here. Sorry,
that's quite
Ptolemaeus. I
interesting.
just wanted to see. It wouldn't have been real if it wasn't a real reaction from you.
I mean, that wasn't okay. So, first of all, I
She's
don't
picked
like.
up Ptolemaeus, turned him around so that Vara can see his hair and is pointing up.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll just be like kind of like held. I'm like, first of all, I don't know if I really enjoy this, getting picked up every once in a while thing. Especially.
Sorry.
I mean, okay, thank you.
Do you
Let's not
do you
do
ha-
these.
do you
Sorry?
have a god that you follow that you're interested in? That was I mean, all the constellations correlate.
It's a complicated relationship.
With whom? If you're willing to tell. Well, Krufix would be stars. And interestingly enough, now this is a theory, but it would be fascinating. Krufix, if I remember correctly, I've studied a lot of the gods, and you get bored in the back of a ship and find books. And many books are about the gods because that's what everything is about, it seems. But I believe Prefix is able to take different forms, and is always portrayed as this kind of starry something, whether it be, I don't know, an animal or the form that they typically take, 4 arms. So perhaps your hair has been replaced by a god, and the god is attempting to be hair right now. You might have a god on your head. That would be interesting.
Well, regardless of how interesting that might be, maybe we should focus a little bit more on the task at hand. And we'll continue the conversation some other time.
And with
Sure.
that, addressed us, if you would please give me a perception check since you are point on this.
Unsuccessful.
What was your call? What was the score? I need to know the
6.
Yeah, that was pretty unsuccessful.
I would also like to point out that while Vara was talking about like Krufix and the stars and stuff, Ptolemaeus has a hand on his chlamys, and it's kind of grasping a little bit of the fabric, and it's like under a folded arm.
Hmm.
That's about it.
Right. Adrastos, you're looking around and you hear a yell come back from the wagon, but you recognize it as one of Ariana's not a fearful yell, more of a jovial, like when she is trying to surprise you in combat training and she throws something at the back of your head when you're not supposed to be paying attention.
Surprise throwing knife?
How do you
Like a
think I
piece
got
of
this
bread,
scar?
you know?
You think this
Most of
came
the
from
scars-
battle? Nah.
But outside of that, as far as you can tell, everything seems quiet except for the wheels on the rough path and the sound of the horses and Ariana's screeching. And this travel goes on for another couple of hours, and the road begins to veer and separate as you are headed now directly towards Phala, which, for those of you who've traveled this area, is known as the end point of the peninsula. It's one of those nobody goes to Phala kind of places, and definitely no one bothers to go past because there's nothing but ruins on the peninsula to the south. And slowly your route begins to turn north as you're not actually headed into the city unless you're going to change that. And you follow the path and it begins idling northward and climbing up into the hills. And since you've been on the path for a good 4-5 hours now, and it's moving into the night, are you going to maintain being the lead? Or are you guys going to stop at some point? What is your plan?
Probably after we've been on the road for a while, I'll just kind of fade back and I'll say, we should probably find somewhere safe to rest. If we travel through the night, we won't be any good to the Oracle if we're attacked.
I would actually recommend instead spend a little bit more time resting near in the early morning and have a little bit more cover of darkness and travel just a little bit longer.
Agreed, but we should stop soon.
I mean, there's quite a few of us. We can all sleep in turns.
I'll be all right for a while yet. Some of you get some rest on the wagon.
Is there how much room is there on the wagon outside of
With the food stores being stacked towards the front and the Oracle laid out in the back, there really is not much room that you could take to sit on it without encroaching on the space for the Oracle, who is pretty well sprawled out and quite disfigured after the explosion.
Are they like fluffy? Are they like a cat? Like a fluffy Sphinx
They're a
cat?
bit like they're cat-like with wings, although this one no longer has half of the face is gone. They are burned badly down the side, and their wing is sorely broken on the right-hand side.
What are they? Are they like a traditional Sphinx where they're hairless,
Yes.
or do they have? Okay.
No, they have a very fine hair actually over most of their body. But if you were to just look at it and not get close, you would almost think that they had no hair. And
Don't
anyway,
want to lay on that. I don't think.
unless you want to get in and examine closer, that's all the detail you're going to get. But if you do
That's
want to get in and
fine.
examine closer, let me know.
I don't particularly want to snuggle with a big naked cat.
That's
If it
bleeding
was
and
fluffy,
bloody.
it would have been a different story. But I think I'm okay.
And no, the Sphinx does not purr. Just to be clear. That may be because it's drugged. You just never know.
Perhaps just begin to look out, and then if we find something sooner, we'll stop sooner. But if we don't, we don't.
Okay.
It's out there.
What are you looking for? Give me an idea if you're looking for something particular along the path.
Are we looking for something that's like off the path a
Yeah,
little bit?
something off the path. I would be looking for something off the path that's kind of sheltered by trees, somewhere that we can go that's not, that you'd have to actually look for us.
All right.
Preferably something.
And I would be willing to
drive.
survival about it.
Okay, I was going to say who's
I can also-
still taking the lead at this point.
I can also roll survive.
Whichever of you has the better survival.
What's your survival,
modifier?
Agrios?
Sam, your internet's going a little flaky there, bud.
Oh, sorry. +4.
Okay, I'll give you advantage then.
All right. That is okay. With advantage, I'm going to need that. There we go. That's a dirty 20.
All right. As you travel on for another half hour, you eventually come to an area. Now you're in the hilly zones now, so you're climbing as you go. But you find a place where it kind of levels off a bit. There's a small draw off to the right-hand side of the road. Now the downside to this is it's pretty sheer on either side of it because it's just a little promontory that goes out. But on the other side of that, that could provide you some defensive advantage as well. But there will be room to put the wagon, but you either have to back the wagon in or you're going to have to back it out in the morning when you leave.
Probably back it in now while we're awake and fresh. Hey, look, I don't want to try to back a wagon out in the morning.
That's fair.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. Who is going to guide the horses and back in the wagon? Does anyone have good animal handling?
I have a +3.
Go. That's probably the best.
Yeah.
Can I assist?
That's oh my gosh.
If
I'll
you
do it
do
then.
not, if you do not have any skill in animal handling, it's not going to give him advantage. So he's just going to have to roll it straight.
All right, I'm gonna roll it straight then. That is a 17.
Nice.
Good. Excellent. Excellent. You expertly back the wagon in and get the horses lined up well. And are you going to leave them secured or unattach them from the wagon?
Are there trees around that I can attach them to instead of
There's
like...
there's shrubs and stuff. You've kind of gone up a little bit in elevation, so there aren't going to be as many trees right where you're at. Not that you're high in the mountains, but you're in coastal areas, so you tend to get smaller shrub-like trees than the big, tall redwoods.
Probably remove them at least from their.
Yeah. Do we have equipment to like tie down their front legs?
I'm sure you're all carrying rope or other materials if you'd like to.
Yeah,
Just,
I'll tie them down, but then I'll take them off the wagon.
Yeah, take them off the wagon, and I don't know if hobbling is the right word, but
It
I know there's a thing you
depending
can
on what
do
you're
with-
doing.
well, I know there's a thing
Anyone
you can do
have-
with horses on the march where you can just like put like a piece of wood between their 2 feet and then they won't move.
Yeah. The other thing you can do is anything that you would put as a weight on the end of the reins and tie the reins to it, they won't raise. As soon as they know there's something there, they're not going to resist. They're trained.
Yeah.
So.
If anyone has like a python for either climbing or for a camp,
I'll just
You
take
can
out
just
2
tie
of
the
my
back.
javelins and say we can use these.
there you go.
I mean, I think we've had them in the kits too. Yeah, okay.
Tell me about preparing your camp and how you plan to spend the rest of the evening. You've gone enough into the night. You've got probably about 4 hours till dawn breaks.
I'll probably be spending time with the horses and stuff like that, and get everything set up there. In the meantime,
I can take watch. At least one of them.
Yeah, I'll probably, as I am human and do not have dark vision. I'll take an earlier watch for folks.
Yep, I also do not have dark vision, unfortunately. So
Cool.
I can rock a solo first watch until the sun rises.
I can watch with you. I have dark vision.
Oh, cool. There we go.
Okay, so first watch. Give me a perception check, please. And if it's 2 of you on watch, whoever's got the higher perception modifier can have advantage.
I have +4.
I was going to say, I can almost guarantee you it's Vara. So Vara, go for it. You have advantage.
I'm.
I have skill. I have training in it. I just don't have a very high mod.
That's 4. So advantage.
Yes.
So 19. Cool. That was a 2. So 19.
All right. As you keep track of what's going on, because you're mostly looking at the sky. Come on, Vara. We know you. You've probably got your telescope out at some point.
Yes.
You notice a winged creature at a fairly high elevation that is circling around the area that you're at, and it's a little hard to tell because it's night, so you don't have any clear reference to scope with it, so you can't tell if it's a large bird or a small harpy.
Yeah. Okay. I'll look over to Adrastos and kind of put my telescope away, and we have company. Potentially just a bird circling. We have a pretty injured creature with us, so it wouldn't be too abnormal to have some kind of vulture or something, but considering we've recently fought winged beasts, I'm not so sure that it's something as simple as a bird.
Well, I could try to get a higher vantage point, see if I can see anything else.
Sure. Or maybe we could try to lure it down in some way.
Either or.
Well, are there any vantage points? And Vara will kind of.
Is there anything I can climb? I know you said that the trees are kind of scrubby, but
The trees are not going to get you much, but give me a survival check. Let's see what you can find.
Dirty 20.
They're off in the distance. There's a bit, like I said, you're at a draw. So on the other side of the draw, as the hill begins to climb more, there is a solitary tree that is growing there. It's maybe going to get you an additional 12 feet over where you're at. And we are talking about something that's flying and circling. So it's your call if that's going to be enough distance, you think, to provide any advantage in this case.
I think your idea to bring it down is probably better with what little elevation we can find here.
Sure. Well, I think I guess there's 2 primary ways I can think of doing that. If it's some kind of creature, we could try to initiate some kind of attack against it, to try to bring it down and start a fight, or we could lure it out with something that it potentially likes. If we put out meat or something like that, we could hunt maybe and almost give it an animal as offering.
Sounds like a good idea. Let's get some animal for it to dine upon.
Perfect. Cool. I don't think we'd go too far away. But Vara is on the hunt.
All right. Let's have a survival roll as you are hunting something. Let's see what you can come up with.
And I will assist.
Nice.
Because that is also a thing I am trained in and not good at.
Excellent.
Also a +4. Okay, so that one was a 16, and this would be a 14, so 16.
All right. As you begin to scope around the hills. You're not seeing a lot of movement, and then suddenly you catch the eye of something hopping, and you realize it's a small hare.
Addressed us as a rabbit. Right over there.
Yes, I see it.
And your
like
roll tells me you're going to get it, so you tell me about how you managed to capture this thing, and dead, alive, or whatever you do, it's up to you.
Perfect. Do you hunt? I don't know much about your people.
We do. We are a nomadic people of the plains. We have hunted rabbits before. Normally elk. We are a larger people, but we can hunt rabbits just as easily.
Great. I fish, so if I can kind of maybe make a noise and get its attention, and you can pounce. Is that rude? Can I say pounce? Is that
it's not rude, but it's also not effective. Here, let me show you. And I will very quickly show her how to make like a snare trap. And I will say, okay, so I'm going to go over there. I'm going to set the snare trap and then make a noise and send it in my direction. I will not pounce on it, but we will capture it.
Perfect. Sure.
And I will tell you, having never hunted rabbit before, when the snare trap goes off, it's going to make a terrible sound.
That's probably exactly what we want.
Yes.
All right. I will kind of head around almost in a circular motion, and Vara's not really sure what sound to make, so she's just going to run at it very quickly and just kind of.
All right. The hare takes off, and what kind of snare trap are you making here?
So it's one that is just designed to be pulled when the rabbit steps into the string. And normally it would be tied to a tree that would pull it up. Mm-hmm. But because of the nature of the trees here, it's just tied to me. And when I see it, I'm just going to pull it and just hold it up.
All right. This rabbit comes charging forward, hopping forward. Front paw goes in, you yeet it, and you actually end up launching it into the air. And as it flies and it's about to go past you, you just reach up and grab it. Nice. Your reflexes. And so you are now staring this hare in the face. And it looks terrified.
All right. Well.
Do we kill it? I guess so, huh?
Yes, I'm afraid it's either him or me, or us, and we need to figure out what this thing is. And I assume the fresher the better. So
perfect.
I will just I'm just holding the hare, and I will just say, "Sorry, friend."
Vara will go, "Safe travels," and she'll put a coin on top of the rabbit's head.
Oh, goodness.
And then I will take out a small hunting knife, and I will just slit the throat so it's making a nice bloody smell, and then I'll just tie it to one of the small trees, and then they'll say, all right, now move back and wait.
All right. That's good. So the two of you are going to hide. Please give me a stealth check.
Yes, the giant lion is going to hide. Here we go. This will be fun. Oh boy.
And that is independent stealth because you can't help somebody stealth.
14 for me.
Oh man, this is a 19, but I have disadvantage because of my armor. 7.
14 and 7.
All right. The bird, which I assume you are still watching, moves.
Yes, I have my telescope.
Bird creature comes past and circles a little bit more, and then begins to drop down in a slow spiral for a bit. And it gets down to the point that, Vara, you're able to get a little bit better view of it just before it like starts and veers and suddenly takes off in the other direction. And the wings definitely had a more harpy-esque look to them than any bird of prey you're familiar with.
All right.
But apparently it was startled by something that it saw when it got closer, probably a very large lion in armor. and it took off. When it
I'd be
left,
scared of me too.
when it left, instead of heading due south or due north, which would have kept it over land, it actually headed east out over the water, which is
Odd.
kind of unusual because it's a pretty good swim to the other side.
Well, definitely looked like a harpy, but I guess on its own it wasn't willing to fight, or I'm not sure.
Interesting. Well, at least we got a better look at it, and hey, a little bit of breakfast.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it knows our current position, but hopefully, I guess we'll just keep our eyes on this guy tomorrow and figure things out. I think they have some kind of interest in Tigros.
That is interesting. Why do you think that?
Well,
The
whenever
Drastus
we
didn't hear it.
yeah, whenever we were fighting, there was one harpy in particular that seemed kind of hesitant to leave when the rest of them were going, and I don't speak harpy, haven't learned that one yet. But it seemed to look at Tikaros and say something, and I don't know if she understood, but I'm not sure. So
Interesting.
maybe it's not harmful. I mean, like I said, it was scared of us, but it did hurt us in the. I don't know.
Well, the Harpies were acting very strange in Neolenton, so it would not surprise me if the strangeness didn't stop at their odd manner of speech.
Sure. Well, and if there's some kind of person or god or something interfering, I don't know. I suppose they could have some kind of control over harpies. Who would do that? A god of the sky?
Any of the gods would do that if they thought it would better their position.
Sure. Well, I guess be wary. Do you want to cook the rabbit? I'd rather
yes.
not waste it.
And then Adrastos walks over with his hunting knife and just cuts a slit down the middle and says, "Sorry, this is going to be unpleasant." And just rips the skin off.
Wow. It's a bit more violent than scalyfish. All right.
But that is why we snap the neck. It's the least painful and quickest way we can deal with it.
Sure. You're quite admirable. You seem like your people are very noble in how you carry yourselves.
Yes, the Sun Claws are one of the many noble tribes of the Erescus Plains, and we are a proud people.
That's excellent.
And so he just starts to he tries to divide it in such a way that everybody's going to get some. He's just like, all right. And then he sets out 5 and he says, "I'm not hungry."
Sure.
The rest of the party, while this hunting expedition is going on, are you resting, or what activities are you doing back at the wagon?
So funny enough, I actually imagined that Agrios would also be hunting, not for the purpose of catching anything else or of even eating it, but rather to sacrifice it.
All right. Go ahead and roll survival for that. Ariana? Ariana, were you snoozing, I think?
He's sleeping. You know what? Like 50% of good health at the very minimum is about good sleep. So if you don't get a good sleep, you're not going to do well the next day, and you're not going to meet your goals. So if you're going to meet your goals, you got to get a good sleep.
There you go.
Agreed.
Excellent.
The irony of me saying these things. Good lord.
Agreed.
Ptolemaeus?
Yeah, I'm probably sleeping as well.
Okay. And Tikaros?
I think if Ariana had said that little pep talk out loud about good sleep, Tikaros would have gone, and then she would have ignored it. She would have spread out her beautiful bright red bedroll. She would have got her little hairbrush out of her pack, and she'll be like doing her nightly hairbrush. First, the white side of her long, straight hair. White 1, white 2. This is like her little ritual. 101 strokes on the white side of her hair, and then 101 strokes on the black side of her hair, so that it's all hanging nice and pretty. And then she'll curl up and go to sleep.
I like to think that the whole time you're doing this, you're watching Ariana just. And you're,
Yeah. Pretty much.
It's like it's a nice little white noise. It's just like
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well,
you don't brush it all out.
white noise. It's a white noise for 100 stroke, and then it's a dark noise for 100 stroke.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
I was about to say,
Agrios, how goes your hunt for a sacrifice?
The gods do not favor me tonight. I rolled a natural 1.
Yeah. You go to look around, but apparently the noise that is being made by Adrastos as he attempts to hide in his armor is just so much that it startles anything else that's around. You did see one creature flying that you thought might make a good sacrifice, but it took off.
No.
Right. So a few hours pass. Are we going to hand off the watch to someone else?
Ariana, you're up.
Oh, absolutely, Adrastos. Thank you so much. Have a good sleep.
So Adrastos goes to sleep, and just because you said that the Sphinx does not hurt, Adrastos does.
Adorable.
Oh man.
I'll give Agrios a bit of a. If Agrios is back and asleep, I'll give him a shake. But if he's just back, I'll.
He would have spread out his little simple animal skin bed mat and lied down on it.
All right.
Ariana.
So I gotta ask, horse wise, do you sleep with your legs and hooves in the air, on the side?
Dead bug.
I guess you probably sleep on his side.
Takes up so much space.
Yeah, I imagine his feet are just sticking straight out like rigor mortis style.
They're dangling over the edge of the cliff, you know. All right.
Ariana will walk over and from a bit of a distance, Agrios, you up for watch?
Very well.
If you would.
Once
I need a
Agrios is
perception
awake,
check.
Ariana will roll up her bedroll and set it aside and roll out a different roll and do a yoga routine.
All right. Well, in that case, Agrios, I need a perception check from you because Ariana is distracted.
Very.
Straight perception check.
All right.
Uh-oh.
All right. The dice are not with me tonight. That's a 5.
Oh, it's a nice quiet evening as there is nothing to disrupt anything. You hear the sounds of Ariana as she stretches and otherwise performs her yoga routine, but nothing else catches your attention. Sorry, I just
Of
had
course.
to-
Favorite thing to do as a DM. Roll a perception check. Okay.
What are you doing?
Everything's fine.
It's a combination of stretching and meditation. It's very useful.
I see. And you pray to your god during this time.
Yes, I am that much closer to it. It prepares me for victory and for glory. And if I am well suited and well prepared, I am well ready for victory.
We shall see.
You do love a challenge, don't you, Agrios?
Of course, especially competition with a champion of Theros.
Well, I promise you, once this is over, you will have your fight. I will never step down from that.
Ah, good. I can't wait.
And
Good to know you'll
I
be
promise I
limber
won't
up
go
for
easy
it.
on you.
Well, no, I imagine you won't, especially if you're fighting for your life.
We're gonna end up in a lot of maniacal laugh-offs, aren't we?
Just another form of competition.
True. That must be what it is. Well, victory in all things. So one
Yes.
day I'll best you in that. I must admit, you have me defeated on the laugh portion.
So you concede defeat there.
I will concede defeat to you in that. For now, I have not trained much in my laughter, so I'm very good at public speaking. But so I suppose that would translate well into expressive laughter.
Hmm.
She goes over and starts doing pull-ups on a tree branch.
All right. Towards the end of your watch, the sun begins to break in the distance, but it is overshadowed quickly by some clouds that roll into the area. But as the sun rises, are you going to continue your rest? Wake everybody up? Because I think you were going to rest a little bit into the morning was the plan. So, just so I make sure I understand what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
So who's
Travel
next
more
on
during the
watch?
night so that we could rest a little bit more in the day.
Okay.
Um,
So who is next on watch?
I guess I would be. And Tigros,
Yes,
maybe?
please. I
Yours.
will practice watching. I will practice. Sometimes I
Alright.
get distracted, but I'm going to try really hard this time.
If both of you are going to be looking around, you can one of you can either give the other advantage, or you can both roll a normal roll of perception.
How do you want to do this?
Let's squint our eyes and concentrate really hard. And I will help you.
Got it. We'll do that instead. I will reroll that. Oh, that's better. 22.
All right. Ptolemaeus, as you awaken and Tikaros awakens and everybody else kind of, you see they're all relaxing, and you go to check on the horses. And as you walk out towards the path that you have backed the wagon in from, so that main route, you notice footprints. And as you go and investigate, you see several sets of smaller footprints, smaller boots, small human, maybe. But there were at least, as you look at it, there were at least 4 that walked by in the middle of the evening.
I checked the horses and everything. Has anything changed on that side?
They seem fine.
The wagon?
The wagon seems fine.
I'll call out to Tikros. Tikros, you see these footprints, right?
Yeah.
I think there might have been someone, or a group of them, that might have crossed our camp somewhere. Could you help me check where everybody else is? Just to make sure if there's anything missing and anything's different or it's changed.
Why don't we follow them for a little bit? Where did they go? Where did they come from?
We can follow them, yes. But
Just
maybe
a little bit. A little bit? A little bit?
yeah, they'll be fine. I'll let's go. I will follow Tikros to follow the footprints a little bit.
All right. As you make your way onto the road and you begin to follow along, you're going to give me a nature check or survival. I'll go with either one. Survival is probably more appropriate, but
Okay.
as you are now
One each?
tracking.
One each?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, 19.
That's a 16.
Awesome on both. Ptolemaeus, you continue down the road and you can clearly see these 4 sets of tracks as they go off a ways. Hikaros, however, she tends to look around a little bit more, I suppose is the way to put it. And she kind of wanders off the path a little bit. And after a few minutes, she's walking on the grassy path alongside the road, and she's obviously following something that she sees. And at one point, she looks up and goes, "It's really odd that this one's feet are so much bigger than the others, and they're also more hoof shaped than the other boots."
So you mean like a horse?
That would make sense. That's a good guess.
And I can see Tikaro suddenly start listing off every kind of animal she can think of that has a hoof.
Well, it could have been me. Like, I don't know if I sleepwalk. Like, I have hoofs. Look.
Are they the same size though? We'll just
Oh,
kind of like compare.
yeah, let's compare them side by side.
They are definitely larger than yours.
It wasn't me. So,
And you could tell like they're walking in a or traveling in a gait of maybe 2 feet, 4 feet.
yeah. Do they look slow walking?
More like
or
a gait
fast?
of more like a gait of something quite large. Probably slightly larger than your average human. Matter of fact, maybe a Drastos size of a gate.
Wow. How much further do they go?
They continue off into the distance.
Maybe we
Dang.
shouldn't follow it that much longer. I still wanted to go back and make sure everybody else was okay.
Oh, that's a really good idea. I like these people. Let's go. Let's go back.
Yeah,
But
sure.
this is such a good mystery. All right, maybe later.
Yeah. I'm just kind of worriedly following back. Yeah, I'll just keep going back to the camp.
All right. You make your way back to the camp, and everyone is still resting. The horses are fine. Everything looks okay in the camp as far as you can tell.
So something traveled straight across, very close to us, on someone's watch, and they didn't notice him. And it was at least 4 smaller footprints, smaller than mine even, and then one hoof size larger than even yours.
Exactly. Maybe they were invisible.
They could be. I mean, but
And
then
they
it was
didn't?
also really dark at night, so.
Yeah. They didn't take any food. They took nothing. There was nothing.
They
Gone?
took information.
Oh, hello, Adrestos.
I'm sorry, I may have misunderstood. Were you not waking us up?
Oh no, we were just checking you guys,
Oh, okay.
checking on you guys. We didn't wake you up yet.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
I didn't know you could cast Gift of Gab too. No.
or it did. You just sat up and asked this and then laid back down.
Yeah.
It's just in my sleep, my ears just twitching.
Yeah. Just be like, he's very on high alert at all times, don't you think?
It's amazing. What a great scout he is.
But it doesn't change anything about this mystery. They walked past, nothing has changed with the group. I checked the horses, I checked the wagon, there's nothing changed over there. Do you even think that it's their threat at all?
Well, they might be following us. We should just keep wary. Maybe
also-
someone wants to hurt the Sphinx, or maybe someone wants to hurt us.
From the path that we are on versus the path that we followed for the footprints, can I tell whether or not they're going in different directions or going the same direction?
From the direction, because you can easily tell the direction of a boot print, they came the path you came and went past you. So you followed them past where you were at.
They went ahead then.
Yeah.
So where do we wanna
Ambush.
go?
Ambush, right? That's what people do when they go ahead.
That is true.
We are the smartest people in this party. It's an ambush.
Well, okay. I think I have to defer to you because I've never really been ambushed that many times in my life. But
I need a perception check from both of you, please.
okay, that is not as good. That is a 15.
12.
All right. You continue to have this conversation, unaware of anything else going on around you.
Great, of course, awesome, excellent, amazing. Well, okay. If I don't know if you've know a lot about ambushes in your day, but what should we do? What should we do in this situation?
We should wake up somebody who knows about ambushes, because I was just pretending I knew. I just know when people go ahead of you and they're sneaking around, you just got to watch out.
Well, okay. Well, if they were to ambush us, really, why didn't they do it when we were all asleep on the other watch?
Because they
Why did
got
they walk?
scared. They got scared. They took one look at Agrios. They took one look at Adrastos. They took one look at Ariana, and they ran away. And then they looked at Farah, and they went, nope.
And but then if that was the case, then why would there be an ambush a little further away on the road?
Because they have reinforcements.
You know, there could be people hidden outside, hidden a little further out. How many people do you think they would know of our expedition?
Wait. Shh. And Tikaros looks around to see if anybody's listening to their conversation right now.
Since you've already
Check.
gave me a perception check, I'm going to say that you do not identify anyone who is listening.
There's nobody around us. We're safe.
Well, I still don't think it's the safest here, at least with everybody asleep, but I definitely think we should check. I should probably get back to the wagon, the horses, the important part of everything, and I don't know. They're all sleeping so peacefully here. But you think they'll be able to fend for themselves if they get surprised attacked and everything?
I think we should go back. Let's go back to the wagon.
Yeah, let's make sure, because the Sphinx is completely defenseless.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll head back to the wagon.
Back at the wagon, are you? Give me an idea what you're doing back at this as everyone else is snoring away.
Making sure that there's kind of like tracking where the tracks were in adjacent
Okay.
to where the camp is and the wagon. I'm just kind of going to be outside of where like the wagon is kind of well hidden in the area that it is. So I'm just going to be outside of that proximity and keeping watch from there.
Okay. All right. Time passes, and it has reached the point of the morning where you were all planning to get up and get moving again.
Oh, finally. I was getting bored with this watching.
It not necessarily a thankful job most times, but at least we got it done. I'll go ahead and wake everybody up. But I think first of all, I'll probably wake up Adrastos and Ariana and make sure that the two of them are awake first before I mention. I found tracks. Well, Tikaros and I, we found tracks. We found tracks of at least 4 smaller boots. And
I was
one
having the
that's-
weirdest dream about this.
Yeah, you actually responded to us and then went back to sleep.
Sorry about that.
No, it was very admirable, actually. I actually thought you were going to jump up and contribute to the conversation, but regardless,
Tiny boots?
smaller boots. I'll show them the tracks.
Okay.
Hmm.
And who all is awake and looking? Agrios is still out.
wasn't me, no.
Tikaros would probably dive like onto his legs and like look at his hooves just to make sure that the hoof size was the same as what she was seeing. I go, hi.
He
Good
will
morning.
he will reflexively kick out if someone dives onto his hooves while he's
Amazing.
sleeping.
Flinger.
I think it's only fair. Tikaros, give us an acrobatics as you attempt to.
Acrobatics. Cool. Woo. 17.
You definitely move aside as he kicks, and you actually, it's kind of this matrixy like thing as you watch as the hoof goes past your face,
Oh,
and you're
yeah,
analyzing
same
as it goes.
size. Good morning, Agrios. We have something to show you.
I would like to.
Morning.
I'd like to look at the tracks, see if I can
Okay,
identify them.
give me a survival.
Come on, +2. Here we go. Nope. Well, maybe. Who knows? 10.
All right. You look at them and you recognize the boots. You've seen these before in your travels. It's some kind of itinerant type of group that moves around, hunters. Basically, they're not fancy boots. They're rough made. On the hooves, they remind you of cow hooves. So maybe it was some farmers taking their cow
How
through the area.
big are these hooves?
Cow-sized. Maybe
Okay,
a little larger
because
than your average cow.
I have personal feelings about cow-related hooves.
That's why I figured you might be able to recognize that they were
Yeah.
cow-style.
I will. So you guys will actually see Adrastos like look really intense when he sees the hoof prints. He's just like, we need to be on our guard. Agrios.
He's putting on his armor right now.
Yes.
Come here for a moment if you wouldn't mind.
All right. Someone's bossy in the morning.
I made a request.
He trots over.
I will point to the hoof, and I will say, doesn't this look strange to you?
Looks like a hoof print to me.
He'll
I
step
would have
his hoof next to it just to compare.
It is a little bit larger than yours.
That wasn't me.
I think whatever is nearby. This one I recognize as hunters. We've seen them. My clan and I saw them on our travels occasionally when we left Oreskos, but this one concerns me. Now, it would be remiss of me to blame an entire race of creatures for the actions of a few, but it does frighten me to imagine that we may be being tracked by a Minotaur.
See, well,
Ooh.
that's the other thing that I wanted to point out about every of the tracks. They go off into the distance. With
Well, what little I know of Minotaurs, and this is why I called Agrios over, they're not really ones for springing an ambush. They're more of a charge in and violently destroy their enemies type.
Wonderful people. I've known a few in my day.
If you say so.
that's the case, then we either would have been attacked by now, or it is nothing, and it could possibly not even be any ambush in front of us.
Regardless, we should be on our guard, even more so than we already are.
As this conversation goes on, the clouds roll in, the sky darkens a bit, and it begins to rain lightly.
We should probably head out. as fast as possible. Not necessarily because of the new weather, but I fear the more time we spend, the harder it is for the Sphinx to recover.
Agrios's beautiful mane starts to get wet and mat down, and he's just
you look like you lost 10 pounds, as the fur mats down to your skin.
I gotta make sure. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I assume you mean Adrastos.
Yeah, did I say Agrios? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Though I don't know about your hair either. I'm sure yours is fantastic.
It definitely got, it's definitely just a mop.
Yeah.
At the moment. Sorry.
I'm gonna
Sorry,
go over
Agrios.
to make sure that Vara's awake. I just gently kind of wake her up. Vara, we're getting on our way.
Thank you for waking me.
Well, we're about to leave you.
I've been ruined before. So thank you.
Well, I figured I'd let the boys continue catastrophizing before I got you up, but
Catastrophizing? Is there something to catastrophize?
They found cow hooves, and Adrastos has feelings, so I'm letting him deal with that. It's probably just a cow.
Did he mention the harpy? Did we mention the harpy?
Did you mention that?
I feel like we would have done it like kind of like an offhand thing, like, yeah, there was a harpy. Because I at least, Adrastos was very tired when he came back, so he was just like, harpy.
I assumed you were talking about the ones from yesterday.
Oh, no, we saw one near camp. We we hunted a rabbit and lured it down, and then I think it caught sight of Adrastos. He's not the stealthiest, considering his size, and it kind of got scared away. But I don't.
He has that effect.
Sure. Yeah. So, do harpies and cows? Are they friends? Is that a thing? Would there be a correlation? I don't know much about either.
Ariana looks like she's thinking far too hard. I don't think so.
Okay.
But they also, my understanding is harpies also don't normally speak telepathically and in unison with each other, so
no,
it's entirely possible we're dealing with some strange things.
Very fair.
Yes.
And what? So you believe it's a cow? What does Adrastos think?
I try to think of the best situations. Adrastos tends to think of the worst. He's assuming that it is a Minotaur, along with some folks.
What? I'm unfamiliar with that. Is that also a cow type thing?
A Minotaur is the opposite of Agrios, but cow.
Oh. You see Vara like trying to like piece the pieces together.
Can Adrastos hear this?
I will leave that up to the players if you can hear that.
I mean, I'm not speaking quietly, but she's assuming that you guys are still talking. You feel free.
Okay.
All right, I think I've got it. Okay. They're dangerous, I assume.
Yeah.
Hence the catastrophizing. All right, well, I guess we just really need to be vigilant. I have a telescope. I could, maybe from now on I could climb up on top of the wagon while we move and keep sight from a bit of a vantage point. I might do that today.
Idea, I support this.
Is it raining? Oh, it's raining! Yes. And Vara will step out of the wagon and she has tentacles for hair. And they've looked fine, but like it's very much like a revitalized kind of look to them. They seem to almost squirm a little bit more. And
everybody else's hair goes flat and yours gets puffy.
Yeah, mine gets puffier if anything. Yeah, they kind of normally I feel like they move a little bit, but not much. But now they're a bit more lively, and it's kind of and they look a bit more vibrant. So I'm just like, yay. And Vara's like just kind of like looking up into the rain and smiling. And well, I certainly hope we're not being tracked by anything evil, because if it's raining, it has to be a good day.
I'll just look over and I was like, and you were talking about my hair being fascinating. Your hair is that, are they alive?
Alive in the same sense that my fins are alive, and she would kind of move up her arm, and she has kind of this fin blade that goes off of her arm, and it all just kind of moves and flows with the rest of the body. I guess they move a bit more than well, I guess maybe like a tail. Think of them like tails on my head, multiple.
I see.
Many.
I can't think of them as tails either, because I don't have one of those, but sure, as long as they're
moving her head, trying to make her ponytail do something.
Yes, well, I do. I'm glad that we have our hair in common in terms of interesting things. I typically stick out, and I feel like in this party I fit in a little bit better. We're all a bit fascinating to look at.
do believe that we all stick out in one way or the other, and I kind of just scan the party a little bit.
Well, except for Ariana, you're pretty much just a beautiful woman.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't get called that very often. It's much appreciated.
Well, of course.
Intimidating, terrifying,
What?
overbearing.
Rarely
beautiful though, so thank you.
I quite think so.
Oh shit.
Did y'all eat the rabbit? Oh, it's wet. She'll walk over and there's these like little wet rabbit chunks in the
No, rabbit soup.
Sorry, Adria, did Adrastos just leave like a cat, leave little chunks of meat?
Right, like
He would have attempted to dry it, which is now not going to work.
Yeah, they're just kind of limply hanging on like a twig or something. Like
No, I now I have to ask, when we woke up, did we all just find just chunks of rabbit next to us?
No, you saw a rabbit on a spit.
Oh, okay.
All right, that makes much more sense. All right, thank you. All right.
Sorry, that image is too good. Well, perhaps we can get a couple hot stones in a pot and have stew cooking on the road.
Sure, I think that's doable.
Just a word of advice for whenever we're not as hidden for the next night, if there is. No fires at night if we're too close to the main roads.
Sure.
Let's get going then.
Adrastos has already left. He is full on like doom scouting now.
Okay. How far ahead?
Pretty far ahead. He is looking for enemies now. And if you had seen him before he left, which I assume Ptolemaeus and Agrios and maybe Tigros would have, any of the joviality he had before is completely gone.
So would you be out of earshot, and would you lose sight of the wagon? How far would you go? Because this is a path that goes over hills and twists. So if
I would
you go
be
too much of a
within
distance,
sight of the wagon, as long as I can see the wagon. They don't have to be able to see me, but as long as I can see them.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So you make your way a good 100 yards away from the wagon, and then you have to stop as you're kind of impatiently waiting for them to get moving, as they haven't even hooked up the horses yet.
Well,
And
I don't actually think I would
scanning.
stop. I think I'm constantly moving, and I am scanning the entire perimeter.
Okay? Oh, so you're going to go off the trail and kind of go around. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
I am looking for what was tracked or what came in our camp last night.
Okay. As you give me a survival check.
If you roll lower than 10 again, you are retired for the day. Okay, 15.
All right. You see the tracks that you were following out. The only issue now is as it is starting to rain and the water is beginning to pool in places on this, the tracks are getting a little messed up. You can still make them out, but they were not deep tracks. They were in the dust that accumulates on a dried path. So they're becoming a little harder to see. But as far as you could follow them, they were continuing down this road. Back
Okay.
at the wagon, have you hooked up the horses? Are you ready to move out? What is going on back there?
I will be. I guess I'll be the one that does all the horses and stuff because I was the one that moved them before. So I'll be backing up the horses, but at the same time, I'll kind of scan around and notice. And Adrasto's really like rather far away, kind of pacing almost. And I'll just kind of motion to Ariana like, Ariana, I have a question. Is there something with him and Minotaurs? He was serious and alert, but he was never this serious and this alert. You're muted.
Telling all of Adrastos' secrets while muted.
My entire backstory right there. You've all
Yep.
missed it. Sorry,
You
everybody.
guys never gonna hear it.
And then once when he was at Cub Camp,
We don't talk about Cup Camp.
That is not my story to tell. But yes, it is a touchy subject, as to say. We best keep an eye on him as well as our surroundings. But as long as we get a few days out of here without seeing any more hoof prints, he will hopefully calm down with time.
Fair. I was just wondering. We all have our secrets, and they are always... They're kept for a reason.
So sometimes we need to release those secrets so that they will release us. And I've been with Adrastos for a while now, and I feel he hasn't yet learned that, but with time.
Well, let's get going, so I don't think the Sphinx would like being too wet in their condition. And I'll just get everything prepared for the wagon to go.
I'm going to make a DM interrogatory, which tends to make players go, but has anybody checked on the Sphinx?
I was actually I'm going to climb up on top of the wagon. I haven't checked on
Okay.
it through the night, but before I climb up on the wagon, I would kind of look in and see if there's any wounds that need to be redressed or anything like that.
Okay. In that case, you're going to do a little bit closer inspection, so give me a medical check, please.
Sure. My medicine is okay.
I'm sorry?
15.
15, okay.
Five.
Everything seems to be okay, and as far as you can tell, as you touch, you're kind of gingerly touching around because you don't really want to disturb anything.
Absolutely.
So you feel the bandage and things look good. You can see the Sphinx, breathing slowly and evenly. So nothing in particular needs great attention. A matter of fact, it looks pretty much like it the night you left.
Perfect.
No change.
Cool. I can shape water. And so what I might do is kind of cantrip, since it's raining, I might almost bring some of the rain into the wagon and almost cleanse it in a way. Similar to like if you just pooped a prestidigitation, but with a few more steps where I'm just going to kind of, if it's dirty in any areas, I'll just kind of gently wash it with the rain and then let the rain fall out the wagon.
Let the rain fall down.
Give me a perception
umbrella.
check.
Shall. I don't like that you rolled before asking me that. 19.
You do this, and you do this cleansing and washing, and at the end, the Sphinx looks pretty much the same as it did before. Pretty much the same as it did when you all left.
Doesn't look any cleaner or anything.
It looks pretty much as it did before, and pretty much like it did when you left.
Oh, okay.
Not suspicious at all.
Oh boy.
Stasis.
Cool. I will climb up on top of the wagon and I will look to Tolly and just kind of, whenever you have a moment, whenever we get on the road, I'd love to talk about some things with you.
Yeah, for sure. Of course.
And that'll be that.
Before we go out, I just want to throw up a really quick divine sense in the area. It's gonna detect celestial fiend undead within 60 feet, so not very far away.
Mm-hmm.
And
all right.
Does that ping anything?
No, nothing.
And continue on.
All right. So I assume you all board up on the wagon and start your way down the trail. Adrastos, you hear as they finally get moving, and the wagon is moving along. And because Vara wanted to talk to Tolly, let's go ahead and handle that real quick, whatever that discussion is going to be. Unless anybody else has any particular interaction they want to do, I'm going to jump to that. Okay. All right. So you are making your way down the trail. It is still a light rain. It is not a heavy rain by any sense, but it is enough to, you're going to get drenched if you're out in it for any amount of time. And you're out in it for hours. So the trail becomes muddy. Vara, Tolly?
Hello again. So you spoke to us about the Sphinx, right? Well, you were told that it was what, sleeping magically, and did they tell you
Yeah.
anything else?
Magically induced sleep, bandages, herbs, and whatnot, and to not disturb the Sphinx.
Yes. Well, I went ahead and checked its bandages and everything, and nothing needed to be redressed as far as I could tell. So, I don't know. I decided to try to do something nice. Whenever something has wounds like that, you want to avoid infection. So, I can control the water a bit. So I tried to wash it off just lightly, and it didn't seem to affect it. If that makes any sense, it was as if you stepped in the shower and walked back out, and you still looked exactly the same. You'd expect there to be some kind of difference, right?
Yeah,
I didn't.
that is true, but can I at this point make an Arcana check and kind of think back on any sort of conditions or any sort of particular things I've seen that could potentially mimic?
I will say yes, but I'm going to let you know that the DC will be very high based on the information you have and what you're trying to reason, but please, feel free.
Okay. I know nothing at all. It is a natural one. Nothing at all.
You have forgotten things that you knew about magic.
Yeah. Yeah, I lost a spell right there. I don't know. Okay, so from what I know, they did say magical sleep, so maybe they magically induce sleep. Maybe they intend for the Sphinx to stay asleep the entire way through.
Oh, why would they? I guess I'm still caught up on that. Do we Are you familiar with the hoplites? How much do you know about, I mean, just the city and this festival that we were at and everything like that?
Besides that, the fact that all of them are very, very devout to Heliod and anything Heliod based, not enough for me to say that they are trustworthy. But seeing as how this is an oracle of Heliod, I'd trust their faith more so than their words.
Hmm. So you don't think they'd do anything to harm it or anything like that?
I don't think they have any intention to do so, and they wouldn't have any intention to frame us, for that matter.
Well, we never heard what the oracle was going to say. Do you think it was going to say something important?
Whenever there's an oracle speaking, and I kind of turn around and see if Agrios is in earshot, it's just, you take it with a grain of salt. Anything God related,
I suppose.
because it really comes into interpretation at that point, and and well, anybody could interpret whatever the words of an oracle says and make it their own.
Oh, what if it was going to warn us, or it was about the festival, or what if the festival was even intentional? I mean, I don't want to get too far into conspiracies. I trust the destiny that I'm on, and I'm happy to be traveling with you all, but rather convenient that something major happened on a day where, hundreds, if not thousands, were able to witness it.
Yeah, it is definitely convenient, but I've
I
learned that on my travels at least that I can trust knowledge and the secrets that people keep, and really that's about it. Any sort of faith and any sort of conspiracy, anything that hasn't happened yet, I can't trust any of that.
Yes, well, that's fair. I don't trust easy myself, I suppose. So I don't know. I don't like I don't like ferrying something somewhere that it's not aware of. It just doesn't feel right to me, even without anything else going on. So um,
I
I
don't
know
like the
you've
job either.
yeah. Do you think maybe tonight, if things continue being weird or followed or anything, maybe we should wake it if we can. I mean, who's capable of a magical sleep on a creature of this size from so far away?
Well, the thing that I'm most concerned about is how many of those that were capable that were far enough from the church, from far enough from any of the destruction for them to be able to do this. But as we mentioned, all of this is just speculation.
Sure. Well, thank you for listening to it. I maybe later today. I hope I'll be able to have your permission to try to bring things to light. Speak to.
So
I don't want to worry anyone else, but I don't know. I thought I could trust you.
yeah, no, I'm thankful for the information. I Everything seems very fishy. I mean, apologies. I didn't want to make that derogatory in any way.
That's
But
fine. I appreciate it. That's it's kind of funny.
I the fact that they got me to do it just because I'm from Melitus is already annoying at
Is that a
best.
is that a well-known fact about you? How did they
It
know
is
that?
where I traveled from, and well, with the education that I had and the way I speak sometimes to people, I guess Even if it wasn't a well-known fact, some people could guess it.
I'm excited to see it. See
I'm
where
going to
you're
interrupt
from.
I'm going to interrupt for a moment. Adrastos, as the rain has picked up a little bit, you've let the gap close between you and the wagon. So I'm going to say you're about 100 feet ahead of it, but still pretty far down the road. And up ahead, you hear what I shall phrase technically as a kerfuffle taking place somewhere ahead of you. Definitely some kind of there's some yelling and some sounds of maybe weapons flashing.
I will hold up my hand and like in a stop the wagon kind of way. And I'm going to let them know what I hear. I'm like, there's something happening up ahead. I would like to go see what it is in case it affects us, but I don't want to appear in force and present myself or ourselves as an enemy. I will not be going far if I'm not back soon. Come after me.
If you would like to present yourself as not an attacker, perhaps I should come with you and we should not approach stealthily.
Yes. More so even than that, and he's gonna like take off his shield, and it like he pains him, but he puts his shield in the wagon with the sword. He takes off his javelins, just kind of cracks his neck. All right,
Can I come?
if you're good.
Well, it was worth a shot.
So yeah, so Adrastos takes off all of his weapons and kind of tightens the wraps on his hands, and he flexes his fingers a little bit in such a way as to inform the group that doesn't know him, especially those that don't know Leonin, that just because he's not carrying weapons doesn't necessarily mean he's harmless. And then say, all right, then Ariana, let's go ahead.
Wonderful.
All right. You make your way down the road, since you said you were not going stealthily. You're splashing a bit in the mud as you make your way down the path, moving relatively quickly. And I'm going to pull up the map here on Roll20.
Map.
And the wagon would be a little bit further back than where it actually is showing up on here. But hey, I only have so much room on the map.
I love what you've done with that gentleman. Just that superimposed bullhead. That's amazing.
The two, as you approach into the area up ahead, you see a group of goblins, armored, and they are taunting and jabbing and picking at a Minotaur wearing a golden mask. And the Minotaur is just kind of taking the punishment. And that's all you can really tell from the distance you're at. I'm going to put you at about 100 feet away.
You know my feelings about Minotaurs, Ariana, but this is wrong. I think you're muted.
I'm just very quiet, apparently. Very anti-Ariana. I believe, should we grab the rest of our group?
Yes, and quickly. If we denied Agrios the chance to fight these goblins, I don't think he'd ever forgive us.
True. We'll head back towards the party.
As we're walking, I'll just lean over to Ariana. Me concerned about a Minotaur. Next, you'll have me believing in the gods.
A girl can dream.
All right. So you make it back to the wagon, and everyone would please put your token on the map around the wagon. And we're at a point, I think this is a good point to take our break. The party has stumbled upon some goblins abusing a Minotaur. What would you all like to do? You are at this point about 100 feet away from it, so You've got room. They have not, as far as you can tell, recognized that you are there.
Well, I would like to go a little bit ahead. I guess my full speed that I can away from the cart, which is 35 feet. And say in my loudest, and I've picked up my stuff again, and say in my loudest, proudest voice, "Hello there, General Adrastos." Sorry. But yes, hello there.
All right. There is a large amount of rocks in between you, but this goblin here can definitely see you, and he turns around, obviously no fear whatsoever, turning his back on this Minotaur as everyone else continues to jab and poke at him. And he looks out across the rain that's falling and... What? Go away! Not your business! Not your business!
That Minotaur appears to be in some sort of distress, and I'm afraid that by being in our path, you've made it my business.
Oh, go away! This is our faceless one! Find your own!
Has anyone ever heard of faceless ones? I turn around and say to the group.
Great question.
At this time, I will, so that we would be able to match the map a little bit better, drive the wagon about 60 feet away from them.
All right.
We'll walk up together.
Yeah.
I'll run up my full 40 feet.
All right. So that would put
So,
you
yeah,
up beside
Faceless ones, is that
Adrastos.
a thing?
Yeah.
All right.
Roll a history check to see if we know anything about him.
Agrios, if we don't form at least one testudo by the end of this campaign with our giant shields.
Did somebody say they were going to roll a history check?
Yeah, I think a couple
All
of
right.
us were interested.
Are there any other checks we can roll to figure out what that is, or is history?
I think history's not a bad place to start.
You know what? I'm not trained in it, but I'm going to see if I've heard about it.
The only knowledge I have is religion, as far as training goes. So.
I got a 4.
So you
I
know
got
nothing.
a 5.
Yeah.
Agrios, feel free to do a religion check.
All right. Let's see what that is going to be. It's only going to be a 10. I'm rolling real badly tonight.
None of you are specifically familiar with the phrase "a faceless one."
I will ask something. Does this Minotaur look like he's trying to defend himself or fight back at all?
His arms are crossed in front of him. Actually, he seems to be favoring the right front side of his abdomen more than anything. But he's taking any jabs, any beating that they give him, but trying to protect that one area.
Huh.
And from this distance, he seems to have a very mottled fur. It's kind of gray, but it's got black all over it. Streaks and lines. Very, very odd coloring.
Agrios
And of course,
looks
a golden mask.
Agrios looks shocked as he watches this scene.
Disgusting. I can't believe this. He looks almost docile.
He spits this word as though it were a curse.
It is admittedly not in my experience of Minotaurs.
He is going to. Would we need to roll initiative if I were to cast any spells?
That is correct.
Okay. I'm going to probably cast a spell.
All right, let me get the initiative tracker up here. If you will click on your token on the Roll20, and then in D&D Beyond, you can click on initiative, and it should show up in the turn counter. Famous last words.
I don't think I linked mine properly because I definitely screwed something up trying to do that. So
All right, a dog or a cat.
I did not.
All right. All right. Well, Ariana, let me know what you rolled, and I will try and spell your name correctly.
Ari is ARI works too.
Wait, I didn't take it.
7.
Mine didn't take as well.
Yeah,
All right.
it's not working
Ariana
for
got a
me.
7.
I
Somebody,
selected it.
Varus
Swear I
just
did.
came up. So
Mine
Varus
sure
just
did.
came up.
I rolled for
There's something to
7.
do with character mancer.
The
right?
fun
Like,
of
I
roll
tried-
20 and trying to actually use the initiative counter. Agrios. Oh, somebody just popped in here.
Agrios did apparently.
Yep, Agrios got in. Okay.
I will try to roll again, I guess.
You have to click your token in roll 20.
Yeah, you
And
need to
make
be
sure you
able
can
to
move
see
it.
the
Yeah.
pop-ups. That's usually how I know.
Pop-ups are there, and then click that again. Didn't. Nope.
And you have Beyond 20 installed?
Oh yeah, right. Okay, so I don't think it works with this.
Tali,
browser.
go ahead and Tali, just tell me what you rolled.
Oh, I rolled a 1, so it's 3.
I'm sorry, 4?
It's 3.
Okay.
total.
I'm just trying to get us moving so we're not taking forever to get
Yeah.
our initiatives in. So let's see, who are we missing now?
Yeah, sorry, mine's not working either. Tikaros.
All right. Icarus, what did you get?
I rolled a 13.
All right. So we got Vara, I can't even make out. That's Agrios, Tali, Tikaros, Ariana. Actually, Agrios, I think that's you at the top.
That's me.
Yeah,
That's
so we're good.
Adrastus.
All
That's
right.
Adrastus.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. You're right. I can't get my names right, so bear with me. As Adrastos, you are up first.
Okay. This Minotaur clearly seems in distress. Yes.
He definitely is being beat on, not fighting back, and is taking quite a bit of damage.
Well, there are 2 wolves inside of Drastos fighting right now. I don't like Minotaurs. I don't like dishonorable combat. And this is the one that's going to win. So he is going to use his full speed to dash, which will be 70 feet right into the fray.
Okay. So go
And
ahead
because
move
he's
up there,
actually
or-
only, I think, 65 feet away, what he's
Mhm.
going to do is he is going to move 65 feet up, and then using his last 5 feet of movement, he's going to say, "Come now, this isn't a good target. Me instead." If the Minotaur is willing, he is going to use bait and switch to shift places with the Minotaur. If it's not, then it doesn't work.
It works. The Minotaur swaps places with you.
So I just kind
I'll
of
look him
shunt
over.
the Minotaur out of the way with my shield, and I just like present a face. And because I expended a superiority die, I will increase my AC by my superiority die, going from 18 to 20
Awesome.
until the end of my next turn.
All right. Now that you have moved in, you've got a better view, and you actually realize that there are a couple more goblins that you did not realize when you first came in.
More the merrier.
Yep. So you specifically have an archer up on a hill. And then this other one that's here in the back. And for some reason, I can no longer select him. I'm not sure what it's doing, but it is being a pain. All right.
And that actually wasn't even an action or a bonus action. That's just a thing I can do while I'm moving. So I do
Right.
still have a bonus action.
Absolutely. What would you like to do?
But I don't think any of my bonus actions are useful, so I will do nothing.
All right. So you have jumped into the middle. Tikros, you see as Adrastos goes charging into this, and the Minotaur is kind of shoved aside, and he kind of arms go up for a moment, and then he immediately goes back to protecting that front right side. What would you like to do?
Interesting. I have no feelings whatsoever for any of this battlefield. So what I will do is I'm going to stay behind the wagon, kind of where I am, for hopefully some cover. And what I will do
Okay.
is ready a firebolt. I'll just ready it. Or if Adrastos looks like he's going to get really hurt, I would let that go. But he's going to be fine. So I'm just going to hold it in case.
Okay.
That's it. That's it for me for now.
Very good. All right. At this moment, the goblins, having their plans slightly interrupted, the three who are closest to Adrastos, so this guy's going to move up a little bit, immediately decide to take slashes at him. So we've got some scimitar rolls coming in here.
This is what I wanted. They've activated my trap card.
I figured you'd have something going, but let's see. So that is a dirty 20, a 12,
Okay,
and a 10.
that meets my armor class.
Okay. The dirty 20 does? Okay.
Yes. So I don't know if that is a hit for you or not. If it's not, let me know.
It is, and that is that's going to be a rocking 3 slashing damage.
Ooh. Okay.
As the one in the orange dot one is the one that hit.
Okay.
The archer that is standing back in the way draws back and should I shoot him? Should I shoot him? And that is going to be it for the goblins this time around. So,
did any of them
Agrios?
miss me? You said there were three. Are they?
Two of them missed you. Absolutely.
When the red one misses me, he's going to get riposted.
Okay.
So I will expend another superiority die and use my riposte ability, which lets me make an attack against him. And if I hit, I can add my superiority die to the damage.
Okay, go for it.
I bet that hits 23.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Hits with room to spare.
Great. So that is. Sure likes the sound of 23. But that will be 17 damage as he gets
17.
riposted, and I just kind of lift his. What is he armed with?
A scimitar.
All right, so as his scimitar comes in, I kind of block and lift, and as his arms are lifted over his head, he gets a slash across the belly.
And you open him up, and he looks down for a moment and just kind of shakes and then falls to the ground. He is out. He's gone.
Battle Master!
Agrios.
All right. Agrios just looks on at this and says,
This heresy will not stand.
and then he will gallop up to here and taking his shield in one hand and his javelin in the other, he points the javelin at the Minotaur. And he says,
Son of Phoberos, Mogis commands you. Kill.
and I'm going to cast command.
All right.
Let's see. Yeah. So it's a wisdom saving throw from him.
Yep. Okay. And as you yell this, the Minotaur looks up and over at you and then just kind of hunches over.
What is wrong with you?
All right. Anything else?
Um, yeah, I'll cast Shield of Faith on myself.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Vara.
Cool. I am going to take the dash action and hop off the wagon and scramble all the way over here.
Okay.
And just kind of be below this cliff face. And let's see, I don't really have any bonus actions. So I will be down here ready to go. And I'm just kind of, I don't know if I'd be hiding necessarily, but I'd be kind of in the foliage, keeping an eye on the archer.
Okay. I'm going to give you half cover from the archer's perspective. So,
Sounds good.
Solid.
all right. Ariana.
Here's 30 feet on this rock, yeah. And I'm gonna cast Guiding Bolt on the goblin just past the fireplace.
Blue, orange,
That
or
is
green?
blue, please.
Okay. All right.
Yes. And so that is that. That's gonna be a 21 to hit.
And that is a hit.
Fantastic. And 4d6 damage. Not bad.
46 damage.
46 radiant. Yeah, 46. Yeah, no, 4d6. So 14 radiant damage. And if he's still standing, the next person to attack him gets advantage.
All right. He is still standing, but he does not look too healthy.
Cool. I'm also going to. I have dealt damage, so I'm going to use one of my channel divinities, which is Inspiring Smite. And I can thus use my bonus action to distribute temporary hit points. So I will give everybody within 30 feet of me, which I think is all of our allies at the moment. Can I get to the Minotaur as well?
Let's see. From where you're at,
Yeah,
Adrastos is.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only people who aren't are those who are at the wagon.
Okay. So everyone is gonna get 5 plus 2, 7. Oh, sorry, plus 3, 10. 10 temporary HP.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Thanks, coach.
Hippie, do heal. Awesome. Cool. And that is my turn.
All right. Ollie.
I'm
I'm sorry, other people use the nickname. I'm going to use it now.
That is fine. Ptolemy, I'm going to kind of sit on the wagon a little bit and whisper to myself a little, kind of, this is not keeping low. This is not laying low whatsoever. Let's just finish this up as soon as we can. Yes. Anybody? I will actually just look over specifically towards anybody that is 50 feet, a little too far. Yeah, I'll just look over at Agrios and just like, whatever is happening over there, let's just finish it off quick. I believe in you. Your god believes in you. Let's get on with it. That's my bardic inspiration for the time being. And I will sit idly by, keeping watch over the Sphinx instead.
All right. Very good. With that, we are back up to Adrastos.
What I get? Don't unmute kids before you start talking. So I have advantage on this weakened goblin, yeah?
Yep.
Cool. I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of that with a longsword.
Okay.
So that is a nat 20. I can't do better than that. So no need to use the advantage there.
Yeah, he might
Remind me, because I have forgotten, because I have the brain of a starfish. How are we doing crit damage?
That is max damage plus your roll and modifier.
Okay.
So max die damage, that is.
Yes.
Your roll and modifier.
So that is 14 damage.
Which is overkill, and you've killed him multiple times, as there is now a flattened, sliced corpse in front of you.
All right. And then I am going to go ahead and burn my action surge and round on the one behind me with a slash as I go.
All right.
Well, that's less good. Yeah, that's 8.
Well, that one actually misses.
Okay. That's fine. And then as my bonus action, all right, I will move kind of to here. So I have 3 goblins within 10 feet of me, and then I will let out a mighty roar. Use my daunting roar ability as a bonus action. They need to make a wisdom saving throw, or they will be frightened of me.
Which, just the 2 that are next to you? Or what about
the 2 that are next to me and this guy?
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure of. What's my DC?
12.
All right. So the orange one fails, the other 2 do not.
Okay. Fine by me.
And as such, the orange one, as soon as you do this yell, immediately backs into the Minotaur as he is trying to back away from you.
Okay, and that's the end of my turn.
All right. Tikaros.
Tigros has the best idea she's had all morning. She's going to use her movement, which I think is 35. Yep. So she's going to run past the wagon, yelling out to Tolly as she goes, "Hey, Tolly, want to talk to a Minotaur?" And then she keeps running and gets to here behind these rocks. With her action, what she wants to do is try and cast a little shower of sparks 10 feet ahead of her in the direction, in the line of the Minotaur, so that hopefully it notices this little shower of sparks with her prestidigitation ability. So, psh, "Hey, Minotaur!" And she's just like motioning him to come towards her.
Okay. All right. Very good. I am putting the Minotaur on the same as the goblins because I tend to put NPCs together. So the Minotaur, as soon as this creature backs into him, he turns and almost reaches out at it and then stops and is looking around and looks at these sparkly things that are happening and just starts slowly wandering his way over towards them, still protecting his side. And as he gets closer, Tikaros, you are able to see a little bit better now that his face is completely covered by this golden mask, and his body is covered in drawings. So every place on his body, there is black ink, some sort of a drawing, and some places it's overlapped because it's been written so many times that you can't make out what some of the things are, but there's one place that he's covering that you can see. It's actually got some gray space, because he's gray-furred, some gray space around it. I saw that eye roll. as he makes his way over towards you, and it's kind of got his head turned sideways with this quizzical look as he moves your direction. Back to the goblins, however. The goblin that is up on the mountain saw Vara move into place, but realizing there is no target there and seeing that Adrastos has taken down a couple of people alongside, is going to take a pot shot at Adrastos with his bow. And I don't think that's going to hit. That's a 15.
That does not hit.
So the arrow sails past Adrastos. The archer that's the green one is also an archer, and he's too close to actually do a good job with his bow, but he is going to attempt to shoot at you with it.
Can I say for flavor I Leonidas to the arrow? Like I just blocked it with my shield and twisted it away.
I love it. I love it.
Okay.
The guy right. How about this? The guy right in front of you draws, shoots the arrow, and as soon as it leaves the bow, you hit it with the shield, and it just kind of deflects right into the ground in front of him. And he's just kind of looking at you like, mouth agape.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Meanwhile, the goblin that's back here, which I'm now going to give him red because the other red is dead. So, And, oh, this is going to be so bad. He places his hands together and points them out in your direction, mutters a couple of words that you cannot quite make out what he is saying, and I need a dexterity saving throw from you.
Goblin wizard.
As flames shoot out from his fingers in a cone, also engulfing his two partners. Well, going around his two partners, they are able to deftly get out of the way. So,
I got a 12, so probably I didn't.
You did not. You absolutely did not. You missed it. You missed it by that much.
I'm heavy. I'm not fast. I am not fast.
And my D6 does not like you, so that is going to be 6 points of damage from the flames.
It's all right. I can take it, thanks to my coach. Didn't even hit me yet. It's just hit the temporary.
the other two goblins immediately begin to rabble back at him, and you can tell, you may not understand the words, but they're obviously cussing him out, and he's kind of like. Meanwhile,
imagine that my hair is on fire. I just have like a black beard face. Now I look even more frightening.
Meanwhile, Polly, does a 21 hit?
Very much so, yes.
Okay. An arrow comes flying out from somewhere to your left. So somewhere to the south as far as the map goes.
Amazing.
And that is going to be 4 points piercing damage as the arrow strikes you.
Oh, okay. Ambush. There's an ambush. Oh God.
Yep, Theros nailed it.
All right. Agrios, you're up.
All right. Returning the javelin to his back, Agrios is going to reach out, also muttering his own sort of incantation, his eyes rolling back a little bit, as something materializes right here in the midst of all three of these goblins. And that something is just a floating black great axe, resembling Mogus's own great axe, and he is going to cast spiritual weapon.
Spiritual weapon, yeah.
You really need to make a token for that. I apologize, I forgot.
Sorry. I should have said something about that beforehand.
Feel free to draw you an axe on there if you would like to.
I'll do that in a second, but first, when I summon it, I believe I get to make a melee attack. I'm going to have it chop at the caster.
Okay.
Let's see. So, yep. All right. So it's just a spell attack. Oh, does a dirty 20 hit?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Then that will be not bad. That will be, yeah. Okay, that is 9 force damage.
Wow. All right. He definitely, you can see as it hits him, and he almost drops the wand that he has in his hand that he has pulled out, but he is able to hold on to it. And he looks over around trying to figure out where this came from.
And as he's looking around, that's actually only a bonus action, which is incredible to me. So for my actual action, Agrios is going to take his empty hand, ball it into a fist, and pound it against his shield in a sort of dull ringing sound. He's going to cast Toll the Dead on this same goblin.
All right.
There's a DC 12 Wisdom save.
And that is a fail.
Okay. Well, it is. Yep, that is another 7 points of necrotic damage.
All right. So you see as the skin on his forearm shrivels from the necrotic damage, and he just cries out in frustration. And is that it for your turn?
That'll be my turn.
Awesome. Vara, you're up.
Vara is going to gust this sniper off the cliff.
All right.
So she's going to go ahead and cast Gust. It needs to make a strength save.
That is a fail, I can guarantee you.
Sweet. And it is pushed 5 feet away from me, so it's kind of pushed. Trying to angle it to where it falls
Okay,
off the
so
cliff
we'll
into the foliage.
put him up there. Okay. If you want him to fall off, I will say he falls off, no problem, and ends up
I would love to.
right down there. So he is now blocked. You are blocked from his view. He is blocked from your view. And he is going to be prone as well, as he has fallen off a cliff.
Sweet. Cool. And then Vara will kind of make her way through the foliage a little bit and stand. Cool.
All right.
And that'll be that.
All right. Ariana.
I'm gonna come running up next to the orange goblin, and I'm gonna hit him. Nice and easy.
That's an easy one. All right.
Nice and easy peasy. We don't want to complicate things.
Goblin's having the worst day.
It really is. 11. Wait, I have advantage because I'm flanking. Yes.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. I never remember how flanking works in.
It's close enough because he's been distracted, shoved, and scared. So his main focus is going to be Adrastos as he is terrified.
Ariana, formation 2.
21.
That is a hit.
Beautiful. That's gonna be 7 damage, and I think we will leave it at that. 7 damage.
He is what you would call extremely bloodied.
All right. Gotta get shield attack abilities. Cool, but that's it. I will do those things and not else.
All right, Tolly, you're up.
Is it possible for me to move this wagon?
Absolutely. You are in charge of that wagon and the horses.
After being shot, knowing that there are enemies to our left, is it possible for me to drive the wagon up anywhere close to this rock here?
Absolutely.
Will it take my movement or the wagon's movement, or an action from me?
It'll be your action, so it'll be your movement to do it. So.
Okay. Yeah, I will totally do so.
In answer to your question, it's just movement. It's not an action. Sorry, let me clarify that.
Okay. All right. So I'll just move here and pretend that the wagon is with me.
Yeah, because
here.
the wagon's a pain to move, so I'm good with you.
Yeah. No worries. I am the wagon now. I will turn to look at me. I turn to Theros and just go, be very careful. There's still enemies to the left side. It's some sort of ambush or something like that. I just got shot. And I will actually, can I use my action to actively try to see
Absolutely.
on that left side of the road if there's anybody? I will.
Absolutely. Give me a perception.
That is a good roll, I believe. That is a 22.
That is good enough, and I will start making them visible over here, as you can actually see all of them, the ones who are hiding in the tree line over here. And so there are 3 of them. So you have 2 in the far tree line, and the archer was in the closer tree line.
Okay. If that is the case, I will use a bonus action to target Adrastos to give him a bardic inspiration by simply saying, Adrastos, please, finish up over there as soon as you can. We may have more trouble on the other side. And I'll
just respond with a sword on the shield.
Yep. And there you go with the bardic inspiration.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Cool.
Excellent. Adrastos, you're up.
All right. I will turn to Ariana and say, got that one, coach? Good. And then I'll turn to the green one. As for you. And I will use another superiority die to use my third maneuver, fainting attack. So I'm expending my superiority die and using my bonus action to kind of give him like the little Ali shuffle to give myself advantage.
All right.
And if I hit, I get to add my superiority die to the damage.
Absolutely.
That is 17.
That's a hit.
Great. $17 damage.
Tell me what it's like as you finish this poor little goblin off.
So because it is a fainting attack, I go as if I'm going to hit him with my shield, and as I'm assuming he brings up his bow to block at the last second, I just flip my shield up to flip his bow out of his hand, and then just underneath my shield, as if I'm blocking arrows from overhead, stab.
Excellent. His bow flies in pieces as the pressure of your shield hitting it breaks it and shatters the core pieces of it, and it just lands on the ground. It hits the ground before he does, as the shock going through of the fact that he's been stabbed, and then he just falls over.
And then I will use my movement to go into his square and square up with the wizard and just smile at him, smoldering on my mane.
All right.
That will be, so that's my movement, bonus action, and action, so that's the end of my turn.
Awesome. Very good. Theros.
Theros skips over these little rocks towards the Mementaur, just saying, "Hi, how are you? You don't look so good, but want to hide behind these rocks with us? There's danger everywhere." And then she jumps behind this rock and motions for the Mementaur to just keep following her for a little chat behind the rock.
I love Tickeros's energy so much.
Battle
All right.
raging. You know, let's have a
Back to it.
chat.
The Minotaur kind of nods his head a bit and turns and follows you over to the rocks. Meanwhile, the caster goblin raises his hands, says some words, does some hand motions, and you see as he does this, and a large fireball appears and comes crashing down onto the ground in the middle of all of you. So right here. So I need some dexterity saving throws.
Ooh,
And excuse me while I count out some d6s.
What a jerk.
Oh no.
Em really did just say, "Welcome to level 3, everybody. Here's a fireball."
So what's your actually, you know what? I'm not going to use my bardic inspiration on that because it will not help.
The
Oh, I
DC's
see.
13. The DC's 13, by the way.
Yeah, unless you have a D10 bardic inspiration at level 3, that's not going to help me.
No, only a d6.
Yeah, no.
All right. How did we do? I will start with Adrastos. You got a 3? Oh my.
Sure did.
Adrastos, I'm sorry to say that is 20 points of fire damage.
That's okay. I'm still not down.
All right. Ariana.
9.
That is 20 points of fire damage. Vara.
20.
I'm sorry?
I got a 20. Natural 20.
Well, in that case, that is 10 points of fire damage.
Goodbye, temporary HP. It was nice having you.
The orange goblin screams out in agony as he bursts into flame. And I need to roll for the wizard himself, who did a very stupid thing. Panic ensues. And
I'm very frightening.
yeah, apparently so. The wizard, somewhat looking dismayed at the fact that he has just terminated his own life as the flames come towards him, you can see that he did not intend that he was in the blast zone as the flames wash over him.
Love low int casters.
Big
And
oops.
Egrios, you're up.
Well, Agrios feels like he just wasted his time doing all that damage to that guy, only for him to kill himself.
Maybe he wouldn't have killed himself if you
He
had
would.
done
He might
early
not have died
damage.
without it. Yeah. So.
It's true. It's true. I guess he'll move up here looking for survivors. I can clearly see this bow guy, right?
Yep.
All right.
Well,
He'll
I
move
will
the
say
axe up
I'm going to
there.
give it. I will give him half cover because he is still prone inside the bushes. So you may be able to
That's
spot
fine.
that he's there. You're not going to get a good view on him from there. So
That's fine. I can at least move the axe up there. I don't
Okay.
think with that, if the axe
oh
is
yeah,
physically
with
like
that,
next to
with
him, then
that,
it's
yeah,
fine.
with that, you're fine. Yeah, no problem.
By the way, I did DM you the axe token over Zoom. I don't know if you
Oh, I'm sorry, I did not
the
even see
URL
that.
for it.
come in.
No worries.
It's a cool token. I went and looked at it in the Discord.
It's
Awesome.
really cool.
So well done, ZC.
Yeah, thank you, Z, very much for that.
All right, I will get that added in here later. I'm not going to try and do it right now because I won't be able to pay attention to
All
what
right.
I'm doing.
Basically, it ends up right here, and it's going to chop down at him. So that's my bonus action.
All right.
Going to be 11 to hit.
That is a miss.
Damn. All right, that's fine. You know what? How much movement did I have? I was right. Like here, I've moved about 20, I'd probably say. So I move. I at least have enough movement to get up here next to the Drastos.
With
Probably.
just sorry, real quick. The 11. You still had that bardic inspiration.
I did still have that bardic inspiration. Hold on,
Oh,
let me
good
use
point.
that real
Good
quick.
point.
That's a D6. Thank you.
Yep.
Only
That
with the
is-
support.
That is an additional 5, so that's 16 to hit instead.
That is a hit.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
Excellent.
It is more important for the bard to
remind
remind you you have bardic inspiration than to actually give it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is
Mm.
9 force damage out of that spiritual weapon.
All right.
And then I moved up there, and for my attack, I'm actually going to screw it. I'm going to grab my javelin. I'm just going to throw it.
All right.
You said he has cover.
Yeah, half cover. So
Okay. So will that be disadvantage?
uh
or-
I'm gonna, because he was prone, because you just hit him with the axe, I just do a straight roll. I'm gonna call
All
it
right.
even.
Excellent. That is going to be an 18 to hit
That's a hit.
for 8 piercing damage with his
All
javelin
right.
as he throws it at him.
As these attacks go in, your axe comes in and swings downward, and you hear a crack and a spring noise as the bow splits. The arrow goes up a couple of inches and then falls to the ground, and your javelin immediately pierces, and that goblin is out.
Let's go.
That'll be my turn.
All right. Vara.
Alrighty. I will go ahead. Get a lay of the land. So let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and cast Guiding Bolt. So I have the star map at my side, and it's almost like the bolt originates from the stars, as if a star beam just suddenly comes from the map and actually is realized and goes towards the closest archer, so the one in this foliage here. And that's going to be I rolled the damage. I don't know if it hit. Oh, it's a 20.
Dang.
So 20 to hit and 20 damage.
All right.
Very, very well.
Sheesh.
And he is out.
Cool.
The bow shatters, and he is blown out of the tree line and into the the field beside.
Awesome. Vara seems like kind of you can tell she probably hasn't killed many people before, so she's kind of like, oh, didn't realize it would be that potent. And she will, and I think that's it.
Oops.
Yeah. Toss a
Right.
coin.
Ariana.
Is there anyone else up?
There are 2 goblins that I'm going to say Tolly pointed them out because he was letting people know what was over here. So there are these 2 in the tree line on the far side.
Oh, those guys. Okay. Wunderbar. Okay, I'm gonna head a little bit. Where's my 30 feet? Right next to Vara. Move over here, and very good idea, Vara. Well done. And do exactly the same thing, but to one of these other guys.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And that's gonna be casting cure. No, not cure wounds. The opposite of that.
Create wounds.
Reverse cure.
Yeah.
Does 14 hit?
No, it does not.
Oh, bollocks. Well, that's my turn.
All right. Ollie.
I think at this point in time, I still think the wagon comes first, so I will see how the battlefield is kind of changed in that sense, and I will rotate the wagon over here behind this rock. Once again, kind of pivot around so that I have at least cover beyond against these two goblins still. And I will call it a turn for now.
Okay. So I am going to go right there. And then I would like to attempt to roll an intimidation check, and I will shout out to these two goblins, "You are defeated! Flee now while you still have your lives, and we allow it." So that is, I am going to go ahead and roll my inspiration there. That is 19 intimidation.
Symbol for Tam's muted. Was it this? I can't.
I believe that was the one.
I was reading lips for a minute because I honestly thought it was just me.
No,
I thought, yeah.
And
Okay.
it even took me a minute to realize you were saying I was muted because I thought everybody heard me from the reaction. So that was even better. I rolled a nat. I rolled a nat one on that one. So yes, good on the intimidation. Was there anything else you wanted to do on your turn?
Just post up. I'm trying to scare the goblins away, and if they don't leave, I'm making it very clear that I'm going to do to them what I did to their friends.
All right, very good. We'll consider it a held action if they don't run away.
Okay.
All right. Tikaros.
Oh, just completely engrossed with this creature, looking at its drawings, looking at its mask face. Hi, hello. How long have you been here? Can you speak common? Can you speak Sylvan? What do you have to say to us? We're gonna help you, I think, unless you're evil, because I've got to have a talk with you first. And that's probably over 6 seconds. So she's just gonna ramble at this thing, but in a nice, friendly, open way.
As you begin speaking and you start asking questions, it starts like it's trying to answer, and then you move to another question, and it immediately starts searching, and then it has a single leather pouch on its side, and it opens up the pouch and reaches in it, and then begins to look panicked as it cannot find what it is looking for. And we will come back to that in just a minute, as the two goblins in the trees immediately sheathe their weapons and run like hell. So you are now out of combat.
Brianna,
You have
slap Adrastos on the back. Well done.
No use for useless combat.
Goblin corpses everywhere. Some toasted, some not.
I'm gonna lean over to Vara and Adrastos and be like, maybe we don't tell Agrios those ones got away.
Sure. He would chase them, so yes.
So
I'm gonna head over to Tikaros.
Yeah, I'd join as well.
I will also join.
Agrios retrieves his javelin, and yeah, he'll head over to where Tikros is, but mostly to look scowling at the Minotaur.
I'm already there, so.
And as I walk over, I will say in Minotaur, "Are you all right, friend?"
He's still trying to figure out and find what he can't find in his pouch, and he just kind of gently pushes past anyone who's in front of him. Gently,
okay.
being he's very strong, so he just kind of shoves you out of the way as he looks, and he walks over and falls to the ground, and you see as his arms tremble as he reaches down to the ground in front of him and picks up a small jar. And he takes it and he immediately starts on the ground as though he's trying to scoop something up and put it back into the jar.
What are we saving, friend?
Are you
Is
a
it?
dolt as well as a coward? What are you doing?
And he just continues doing this. And anyone who comes close and looks at what he's doing, this is a small vial of ink. And it has fallen to the ground, and the ink has spilled out onto the ground, and he is desperately trying to get the ink back into the jar.
Ink?
I'm afraid your ink may be wasted, friend.
And I pull out my little ink vial that I stole from the festival yesterday, and I'll offer it to him. Or her. Or they.
He drops like a small child being offered a new toy. He drops that vial and puts his hands out and takes it and looks up at you. And again, he's got a mask on, so there's no expression. And he places it in his bag and digs around for a moment and pulls out a copper coin and places it in your hand and rolls your fingers over it.
Well done, Tikaros.
Oh, I just like making friends. Every day I've made a friend lately. Thank you. Thank you.
What
He
is wrong with him?
He continues to dig on the ground and finds a small stylus.
Probably something to do with the tattoos. I would assume that's what's driven him to be so passive, I suppose.
And he looks at his arm, and in the rain that's falling, he takes and he scrubs on his arm and makes a relatively clean spot. And he hands the stylus to Tikaros and points at the ink and her and at his arm.
You want me to draw? Adrastos? I don't speak the language. Does he want me to draw?
Friend, do you want her to write her name or a symbol?
And he taps you on the chest when you say name, and taps you on the chest and points at you.
Your name, Tikaros.
Oh, she's just, her brain is like going a million miles an hour as she thinks what the heck she's going to do for this name thing. Well, my name's Tikaros. That's my found name, but my real name, I can't remember it, but you're going to get my found name. It's Tikaros. Tikaros. And she'll just draw like one of exact replicas of the stars that adorn her hands and her horns, like a little center point with lines coming out from it. And she'll just draw a beautiful little star in the space that the Minotaur has left.
And when you're done, he takes and puts his hand over it, and you can see as he leans over and breathes his hot breath onto it to dry the ink. And then he carefully makes sure it's dry. He touches you gently and points to his arm and back.
You may have bonded with it, Tikaros.
I don't know what this means. I hope it's good.
Perhaps you're married now.
That would be fun. Does
And
anybody know what's going on?
He leans back and looks at the area on his that area he was protecting, and blood has moved into it and slightly obscured portions of it. And you see as he panicked starts grasping at it, and as he does, he begins to smear the ink, and he begins to damage, and you can see he gets more frenetic as he does more damage as he is trying to clean
I'm gonna
this.
grab his hands and just hold him and like try to look in his mask for a second. Say, wait. Do any of you do that?
I got it. I got it. I'll just get off the wagon a little bit and just help him presto clean just the blood part of it, so that it doesn't
Okay.
smear the ink.
And I'll give
And-
him 5 points of healing to stop the bleeding.
Okay. Excellent. The bleeding stops and you're able to clean up the blood. Unfortunately, there's places where the blood is mixed with the ink and there's places where it has smeared. And he just puts his hand on it and then leans to the ground and begins to sob, but there is no noise.
No. I'm just going to cuddle up to him a little bit and see if he'll accept. A little hand, little shoulder on the sobbing shoulder if he is. Or it would be like this.
He continues to look at it and his face looks at you, and you just get this pleading feeling from him as he continually goes back and forth, and then he touches you on the shoulder and points to the place on his arm and back and forth. And then he again looks at the place on his body, panics, and begins to sob again.
Who was that?
I'm sorry?
Who was that? She'll ask him and point at where he's holding.
He'll look for a moment, and he just kind of looks around and
Your traveling companion?
and he points to the rocks beside you, and then he points down the road, and he leans over to the dirt. He draws a circle, some circles, and then a line like the road. And then he stops, and he looks at his side, and he begins to sob.
So, one of the cool things when I became a battle master is I also got to pick a tool proficiency. I have proficiency in cartographer tools.
Mm-hmm.
Do as well.
Can I pull out my map and use my cartographer tools and say, are you trying to show us someone who needs help? And I like show him on the map where we are, and then like take his hand and say, show us where to go.
You see that he sees the map, and he hits the map and then hits his.
That was your map.
And then
home.
That was your map.
And then looks down at it and sees the damage and begins to cry.
Can we make out any of it, or is it like fully smudged?
Who would like to use their cartographer skills to look at this area?
You
I
guys
realized
do it together.
I don't have cartographer, it's navigator, my bad.
Oh.
So it's
I will use my cartography skills to try, but if anybody wants to help me chart,
I think Vara definitely could if she wants to. She's got experience in this area, so.
Yes, I have my star map.
Hell yes.
I can
I'd love to
guide
help.
you. I will guide you, and I put my hand on your shoulder. And cast guidance mechanically.
so is this
Does
just
bless stack?
I'm sorry.
Guidance. Huh?
Sorry, does bless stack? Oh no, that's just attacks. Never mind.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Somebody said, I think Adrastos, you asked what the role was, but there was too many other things. I apologize. I couldn't. My headphones and I did not communicate well.
Yes.
So let's do this as, you can do this as survival or nature, because either one would fit into the cartography side of this.
all right? I'll do this as survival, which I'm getting help, and I'm also getting guided.
D4.
Yes. So
You better not fail this roll. That's all I can say.
Well, I'm probably going to because I rolled very poorly.
Oh no.
Why, Tam? Why do you do this?
I didn't do it.
You jinxed it.
Well, that's true too. Because I'm the DM and it's my job.
Okay. So yeah, no, it's not very high, but it's a new skill for me. 9.
9. As you look at the map, so much of it has been obscured. And you're not completely familiar with what it was trying to convey. Fortunately, a lot of what has been damaged appears to be where he came from. But you can make out, based on the size and positions and what appears to be water, it is a map that shows a path past Meletus, around the bay area, and down into someplace in the Nessian woods on the far southern side. So across the bay that is to your right, in the south of that area, the Nessian woods. Are any of you familiar with that part of the land? I don't think anybody's been from around that area. So.
Possibility Ariana has had something
Unfortunately,
there, but probably not.
Unfortunately, if you were to try to use the map to get from where you are to Meletus, that part of the map is lost. So unless you knew the way, you would not be able to get there.
Well, I'll tell him what I found and what I know, and I'll say, this is unfortunately what I can do. I'm sorry. We can get you as close as we can, at least to Meletus, and perhaps from there someone will be better able to translate the symbols on your chest.
He hands you the stylus and holds himself like this.
So with the stylus, I will tap my chest twice, and then I will tap the map twice.
And he just nods.
Good. Okay, I will try and recreate the map on his chest, and if there is any space left, then I will write Adrastos. But first, my primary concern is making sure the map is completed. If there is space, I will write my name.
Okay. And let's do a survival check for your cartography skills, and let's see how this goes.
Okay.
I guide you.
Thanks.
And I say, hey, leave me a bit of ink. I want him to write on me too. Address us. Tell him to leave a little tiny bit of ink. I mean, you leave a little bit of ink. I'm confused. I'm very tired.
This dice is retired. It's another 9.
Oh my god.
All right. Well, you draw as best you can. Now, did you include her guidance and help on you in that roll?
D4.
Okay. So with
I
the
rolled the
D4,
same
it's a
thing
9.
twice.
Oh my goodness.
God.
All right. So you put a map on there as best as you think it is, and it will be something we'll have to find out later how it turns out for him. So, but there isn't a lot of room left after you do the map, and you go like you want to write your name, and he immediately points to the space underneath Tikaros's name.
Then I will
and
do it there.
taps you on the chest.
Then I will put my name there.
And then I excitedly pop up and I tap him on the chest and I point to like a space between the stars that are on my arm.
And I will hand her the stylus.
And see what he draws on there.
And he takes a moment and then he looks down at the place and he reaches over and he hugs Adrastos very tightly, almost painfully tight.
So Adrastos looks like when you pick up a cat that doesn't really want to be picked up, he's just like, and then he just they're there, just pats it.
And he looks around for a moment, and then he takes the space where Tikaros has pointed, and it's a very crude drawing, but he makes a symbol on it and looks at it, and he's not happy with it. He puts the stylus in his hand, and he goes to take some water and wash it off. And then he takes and does it again. And he does this like 3 or 4 times. And so you're getting this blotch of ink that he keeps scrubbing away to get it. But he eventually draws something that he's happy enough with. And
I
then
didn't know erase it and do it again was an option.
Then he caps the ink and puts it into his bag. And then he points to Adrastos in the place on his arm and Tikaros in the place on his arm. And Tikaros, he drew a symbol on your arm that I don't believe you are going to be familiar with. However, I believe it is familiar to Adrastos and Agrios.
All right. Do I need to roll anything to know what it is, or do I just know what it is?
Absolutely not. I think you can make it out. It is the generic term for a Mementaur written in the native language. It basically says a Mementaur.
What has happened to this creature? Like a shadow of a Minotaur.
Seems to have given up its identity.
Often the symbolism of the masks is giving up your identity, so.
That would make sense. Also, the inability to speak. Or the unwillingness to.
Shall we kill it?
No, I don't think that's necessary.
I feel like we went through a lot
Alright.
of work to save it.
I doubt Agrios saw that as work. Probably saw that as just fun or the warm up.
Oh,
Put in
no,
plenty of effort.
I was hoping that it would join in. That some fire still existed inside of it, but
Well, what if, Agrios, what if the Minotaur comes with us to Miletus and you teach it some of your skills? Teach it to be angry. Teach it to fight.
Better we don't do that.
No?
No.
I liked the idea.
I like it too.
I don't know if we're on a pretty limited journey, right? Limited in terms of telling people things and having people join us. So I do like this fellow, but I don't think it's appropriate for him to join.
Rather there be less people that know of what we're doing here, but
Yeah, agreed.
The
That makes
Minotaur
sense.
suddenly kind of jumps and starts and looks at all of you and kind of backs away, protecting its side, and it backs into the rocks and stands up.
We
Oh,
wish you no harm.
Yes, we're not up to any bad. We're actually doing something rather good. It's just a secret.
Oh,
We can't
no
really
one's
tell
ever
anyone.
can tell.
I guess you wouldn't tell anyone, so wouldn't be the worst thing if you knew. But
He looks over himself and he looks at his arm and kind of studies the area that's been cleaned, and there are 2 new words on it, and he looks around, and then he sees the marking on Tikaros's arm, and he points at it and goes,
Yeah.
and he walks over and hands you the stylus and points to a blank spot on his arm and taps you and taps his arm again.
Well, this could
He
go
wants
on
to
all
know
day.
What just
what
happened?
you are.
Are there any other
What
blank spots?
Just this area he cleaned. There's enough room for more names on his arm. Absolutely.
I was hoping to maybe somehow transfer at least the basics of my star map, or enough to kind of help navigate and explain how, if he does lose his map or writings or anything, he can at the very least position himself based on the stars.
Well, tell me how you approach this with him. How do you let him know this?
Perfect. Yeah, so as Tigros is writing, I'd kind of glance and see what spots are open and pull out my map, and I would have it open and kind of looking at him and sir, you, if you were to lose a map again or anything like that, I wouldn't want you to be without the ability to navigate. And I've learned over the course of my whole lifetime how to navigate specifically by the stars, which is something that can't be washed away. God forbid. So if you would like, I could at least try to transfer some of the basics in terms of major constellations and ways to orient yourself to where you at least know north and south and what time of day it is and different things like that. If I could, if that's appropriate.
As you say these things, he kind of, does the head tilt thing as he listens. And when you say the stars, he looks up and, points. And then he looks on his arm and points at the star that Tikaros had drawn earlier on it.
Ah,
And then he looks at that for a minute. What did you draw the second time, Tikaros?
Exact same thing. The same
He
star.
looks at the other one and he looks and he touches you and points to the second one, and then he points to the first one and starts looking around for the person who belongs to that name. And he walks all the way around the entire rock looking, and he comes back around and he's just looks very confused.
Tikaros seems to be a bit confused about what she drew.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel very sorry for him. And I don't know how to help.
I have a feeling he writes these, or other folks write them, because he doesn't remember past a few moments.
Mm.
And
That makes sense.
probably thinking he's met you twice, or a second person.
You are smart, Ariana. And I scrub out the second star.
And he as soon as you do this, he immediately freaks out and touches you and points back to his arm.
Again, I touch myself and then I hit the first star that I drew.
And you can see as he just kind of and points to you.
Hopefully that fixed it. Should we get going soon?
Yes, this is cute, but I think we do have a mission to go on.
We need to get a move on, I think.
He looks back to Vara and then he points to the star and just kind of shakes his head. And he puts the ink and the stylus back in his pouch. And he turns and starts to walk away. And he gets about 20 feet away and he's looking at the map and he looks at his arm and he touches the place with Tikaros and he turns around and points at you, Tikaros. And then turns and keeps walking.
I hope we
Walking what would be the right direction.
He is walking in the correct direction.
Great. I hope we see him again, or at least learn more about what his situation is. He's quite interesting. A fascinating way of navigating.
Like an
Strange,
unfortunate way of
it's-
navigating.
As Agrio said, this was very uncommon for Minotaurs. I've never seen one this unwilling to engage in combat. Certainly hasn't changed my opinion of them, but has changed my opinion of that one.
I wonder if it's has anything to do with the term that the goblins used.
The faceless one.
I'd
Yes.
assume so. Comprised of who he meets rather than who he is.
Regardless, I think we should get going.
I agree.
Perhaps he is cursed. Better that we did not kill him. The gods may frown upon such a mercy.
Theros, what did you do with the coin?
The coin. Oh, I would have stashed that away in my little pouch for looking
Okay,
at
so
later.
you kept it. Okay,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Very good. All
We
right.
are quite confident we are not going to, as she watches him walk off, we're not going to take him with us. Perhaps we should be on our way.
Agreed.
I would like to go check on the Oracle. If that's okay.
Sure, absolutely.
If you do, I will follow you.
Cool. Yeah, I was gonna say,
if you like say it or make it seem like you're gonna go check on it, Vara will follow you very intently.
Perfect. Yeah, I was about to ask for Vara's help, so that's perfect. Yeah, I'll open the back of the wagon and take a boo, and just do a quick check on her wounds and such. See how she's doing.
Right. So you're basically doing a medicine check as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess. Do you actually have medicine, Moira?
I have medicine. Yes, I have a
Okay.
2, I believe. Yes.
You're better than me, so perhaps you wanna. I'm not trained in medicine. Can I aid at all?
If you do not have the skill, you can't lend that kind of help to give advantage on the roll.
That is all right.
Yeah, I will color help you.
Cool. Yeah.
Not help.
Great. And that's a 7, so that would be a 9 total for medicine.
All right. Again, you don't see a lot that you could do to help. The dressings seem the same as they did before, and very much like they did when you left.
I checked them earlier today. They didn't really need changed, and they still don't need change, which, in my experience dealing with, crewmates who've been injured and things like that, that's a bit abnormal. I don't know if you saw me talking to Ptolemaeus earlier, but I guess I should just show you. And is it still raining? A little bit?
Yes, it is.
Am I in the wagon area at this point while they're
If
doing
you
it?
would like to be,
I'm still
we're
riding
out.
it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were guiding it, so
Please
Yeah,
remove your
absolutely.
items from the wagon area.
I'll just I'll just immediately go, Vara, it's fine. Everything is okay so far. At this point, Ariana.
That's not suspicious at all.
Well, no, because the Oracle was put magically to sleep to awaken when we get to Melitus.
Well, let me just at least, if everything is fine, that this won't make an impact. This is fine. And what I'll do is is Ariana bloodied at all, or has some grind to her?
I've got some. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So Vara will kind of go ahead and control water and use it to clean off maybe just whatever exposed part of you, and just kind of here. Look at that. So you see that there's a visible difference in your appearance, and maybe feel better, refreshed. And if I do that to the Oracle in any way, and she'll kind of get new water, not the same old, bloody, gross water, and kind of and wash it over its back, and not too close to any of the dressings or main areas of injury, but anywhere where, especially where there is some kind of grime or still signs from the explosion, and move the water away. And is there a change?
No. As I
We
have
need
stated
a sound
previously.
button.
Yeah. No. It appears the same.
Huh.
Isn't that interesting?
Is it possible that rather than a sleep spell, they are in, oh, what did that wizard call it? Stasis of some kind?
Regardless of what it is, it's not really for us to know. We're just the couriers. Let's just keep it as such.
That's to courier some bad stuff, and I make it a rule now to know what I'm carrying.
Understandable. But
Well,
you
I
have
just-
believers of Heliod trying to save an oracle of Heliod by having us transport him to another church of Heliod. If there is any conspiracy here, then something is going terribly wrong that is beyond just a stasis oracle, or stasis sphinx for that matter.
Oh, but what if it is in stasis and it's in worse condition than we thought, and we get to this city and deliver it, and it's dead, and then we're framed for its death, or something like that? Or, I mean, we were the ones who came to help and intervened with the temple, and so maybe whoever was doing it just wanted to get us out of there. Or, I just feel like there's so many possibilities of things being very bad.
There are many possibilities of things going really bad, and for one, logically speaking, there's nobody that would need to frame us for anything. We're nobodies. We're nobodies to them, especially before any of that happened. And two, as I said, if they are trying to commit some sort of a crime against an oracle of their own god, no less, then that's a problem beyond just what happens when we are framed for it.
I suppose. All right. Well, I guess I'll stop bothering you with it. I'm just. Well, sorry, I don't know if y'all heard that. That was.
While I agree with Ptolemaeus that yes, there does not seem to be anything we can do right now, I also agree with Yuvara that we should keep an eye on it, because this is definitely suspicious, and we should see if time or area affects any of this.
I don't like it any more than the rest of you, than either the two of you, that the oracle seems to be in a different condition than we were promised. But
Yeah, I guess
given it is beyond our power.
Yeah. I won't mess with it anymore.
And let's.
I haven't had a chance to mess with them yet at all, so I'm going to do this. I'd like to lay on hands, but use 5 hit points to cure disease or neutralize poison, and just see if it does anything. I'm assuming it won't, but I would like to test.
Okay. You place your hands on and you feel the energy released as you normally would, but there is no discernible effect to the oracle.
It seems to be completely cut off from any kind of divine connection, which... Oh.
What says it about its own capacity as an oracle, then?
Why was it put in a stasis unaccepted to divine intervention if it's in some kind of witness protection program from its own god?
Theories. Many theories.
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's keep
Yeah.
going. And,
No
Yeah.
matter what.
Was I able to hear all this, by the way? Agrios, was I
Well,
near shot?
No reason not, if you wish to be
I'm
there.
gonna say, Radrassus and Arius just over there like playing rock paper scissors.
I don't. The gods were not responsible for the destruction of the temple.
Free?
He
Why
did
would
receive.
it be? Why would it be in protection from its own god if the gods didn't destroy the temple?
How do I don't think Ariana was there to hear your, because you didn't tell
He-
everybody about your prophecy thing, right? It was just
He did
Oh,
receive.
I don't know. Yeah.
Adrastus will chime in. He did receive a vision. I overheard him while I was exercising frustration on a column, and he had a vision.
So, Agrios, as you said, you are an oracle of sorts, and
Yes.
Mogus has told you it wasn't.
Mogus has commanded me to find who is responsible,
Huh.
and that the gods are not among those responsible.
Rising insight.
Could be protected from all magics in case something has ascended to divinity. It has not been unheard of, I understand.
Or the other way around. Any problem divine can cause fiends of other nature can as well.
And what little I know of Mogus, he would certainly be more than happy to take credit for destruction he caused.
Oh, yes.
I think we'll know more when we get there. There's a lot of what ifs, and
Yes.
I myself have been caught in them, but best
For,
to
no-
be quick.
for now, our information is only that we must get it to the next city, and so I think that is what we should do.
Sounds good. And Vara will start climbing back up on top of the wagon.
Let's go. Vara, can I use your telescope? Can we look at the sky as we go?
Absolutely.
So taking back his position of scouting and just covered in wounds, like burns and cuts, Adrastus is just going to kind of crack his shoulders, and walking a little bit more slowly, take his position at the head of the.
Before he manages to get out of research, or out of reach, Ariana will come up and smack him on the back and cast Cure Wounds.
Oh, right on the burn. Oh, wow, that feels better. Thank you.
Oh, come on, really? A 1? It was hovering on a 4. You take 4 healing.
Cool. I'm in double digits again.
Okay, and I'll give you another 4 from Lay on Hands. No one else was really injured, right? Okay.
I got shot, but I'm good.
Sentences you only hear in D&D.
Yeah.
I went from 38 to 9. Just so everybody
Ptolemaeus
knows.
on the side with this arrow. Ptolemaeus has his arrow sticking out of his legs and go, no, I'm fine.
Exactly.
I'm more musing and just like, oh my, there was a goblin that was just hidden in the bushes. He had all the other goblins poking at a Minotaur, and they were attacked. And instead of helping the goblins attack you guys, he shot me in the leg. So goblins.
Very brave of you, Ptolemaeus, to have survived such a grievous wound.
It's not even a joke in that sense that I just don't feel like goblins have any sense of honor at all. If I was the one that got
Very
shot.
little camaraderie.
Yeah.
Well, you
What
don't have
happened
to.
with that big fireball, by the way?
the new guy,
goblins
the new
were
guy
scared to
wizard,
get
man.
older.
I'm just glad it didn't burn off my mane. I've worked long and hard to maintain this.
Good thing it was raining to wet it down.
Yeah.
Does this seem like normal goblin behavior? Would it be common for them to be in this area? Would it be common for them to be prodding at this person. Is there a way for me to find out? Would that be like a history or a?
Oh, you're asking me. I thought this was all in character.
Yeah.
So.
I sure am. No, sorry.
Well, I mean, you could always do history to look back at experiences of what you know. Nature, for what you understand of other creatures and their behavior. I'm good with either.
I will nature because I live on a ship.
Mhm.
I'm on a boat.
That's a 13. A 13. So I'm just is there anything fishy about this from what I know of the area?
There are roving bands of goblins. They tend to be looking for the easy targets, the low-hanging fruit. They are often thieves. And they enjoy money. They're rather greedy little creatures. So they enjoy things of value, and they tend to, if there is something of value to be taken, they will tend to group with other goblins who they normally would not partner with to go after and get it.
Cool. Great. Cool. I'm good then.
As you continue your travels down the road, and you're rolling along for a ways, and you see the hoof prints in the muddy road of the Minotaur that has gone on ahead of you. And Adrastos, I have to ask, which route did you draw on the map? The road you're taking or the main road?
I probably would have drawn the road that we're taking, because if goblins are attacking him, he is worth something. And traveling alone on the main road, if he is worth something, means he will put himself in danger again.
Okay. So he's got a pretty good head start on you because you spent some time discussing, hooking things up, checking on the oracle, so forth. The rain is still light, and you can definitely tell that he is following the path ahead of you. You can see the hoof prints. You do not see him because who knows how far ahead he is. And the road continues to twist and rise and fall in places as you make your way along throughout the day. Fortunately, the day goes without any great further adventure, as nothing seems to be tracking or specifically following you at this point that you can discern. And we're going to put you down the road another day's travel as it begins to move into evening. How late are you going to travel?
Probably similar, I would think.
Yeah, a little bit into the night, or so we can travel through the night, but then still, rest when we need to.
Okay. This is going to put you about a day and a half by your reckoning out of Meletus, out of your target. Okay. So you're somewhere outside of the cities of Strium and Oxus, somewhere between those two. And you can find a decent place to stop for the night. The road smooths out a little bit more here. You're getting back into civilized area. So even though this is the side path, it's a little better maintained. People have actually come through and dug out the big stones and moved them off to the side of the road. So you're able to find a decent campsite. And as you set up your camp for the evening, that is where we will stop for this session.